moving on. Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Otter Draft League Otter Talk. Tonight, our guests, we have Fallen, we have Defoe, and we have Melee Vane. A couple from our featured matchup tonight. We have Spuds versus Imperials. Going to be a very exciting one. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this. Seeing if the Imperials are actually going to be able to take on the Spuds. Spuds have faltered a little bit. Still a very good team, but Imperials have been coming up really big in the past couple matches. And unfortunately, for Astronauts, we do have Defoe on, unfortunately knocked out in quarterfinals. Couldn't do it again. We were expecting great things. Unfortunately, did not live up to them. Defoe, what do you have to say for yourself?
Hey, it's all good. I've been around for enough splits to understand you can't win them all, but sure as hell gonna try to win as many as I can still.
Nice, nice. I like to hear the confidence. I like to hear that you still got it in you. Now, we do have two people on Spartans. We have Melee Thane and we have Fallen both playing tonight. We're not streaming the match, but you guys are playing up against Kittens. I know Spartans have had a bit of a rise on the back half of the season. Do you guys think you have what it takes to take down the top seed?
Only one way to
100%.
find out.
One way to find out, baby.
One way to find out. All right, so let's get into our predictions for tonight. Starting up, you know what? Let's start down Ruby actually, given that's where all of our guests are from. And okay, you know, we love to see it. Unfortunately, I think me and Defoe are not seeing the vision. But Fallen, you have Imperials winning over Spuds, despite the second seed. Why? Any reasoning for that? Any play styles that you've seen from the team that have been a bit more impressive to you?
This is literally the only time I will ever root for Lizzo, just because I want to be the person to put him in the dirt in the finals.
Oh damn. Okay. And you think they have a chance?
Nope, but I'm rooting for them anyways. Nothing but blind faith over here.
Nothing but blind faith. All right. Do you see a world where they could win? Like, what's the world where they win? Draw a picture for me. Let me hear the line that they can take.
I definitely think that they can win through bot lane. Like, KMZ, I think, is a pretty decent captain, but I think Death is a much better support than him. And I think that if they play around bot lane, that they could potentially win 3 out of the 5 games.
Nice. Now, what happens if they start 0-2? Do you think there's any chance of a reverse sweep, or do you think the mental boom just hits?
Oh no, well, everybody's gonna be tuning in to watch Lizzo's crash out.
Does that give him the energy? Do you think the energy to start coming back, feeding off of the hate?
I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't understand a lot of things that Lizzo does.
I think a lot of people are in that same boat with you. Just we operate on blind faith, and whatever happens, happens. Now, for your match tonight, I have to ask, Fallen Melee, what do you think the matchups look like? We know a lot of stars on Spuds. We know Rutledge, obviously. We know Lucy, obviously, very good players. Boat Chicken, we have memed on over and over again, has shown up multiple times. Do you think you can stop the Goat Chicken from showing up tonight?
I think Boat Chicken, in my opinion, like seeing him play mid, seeing him play AD carry, and now seeing him play top lane, he always has a pretty decent average, but he's never going to do something amazing unless you just try to greed, and then he'll punish you. I've definitely got a lot more respect for him after seeing how he's performed this split compared to having to play with him as my AD carry last split.
Okay, makes sense. Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk about. Oh no, keep going. Go ahead.
I was going to interject a little bit. Sorry. I was going to say
No, go ahead.
I've seen pretty much everyone individually on the Spuds do something at least impressive. I think I've seen it, at least one of them do something that was at least good. I'm not going to say all of them are great players, right? But I've definitely seen them be impressive in their own standing, and even in the Imperials too. I've seen Lizzo do some pretty incredible things in the jungle. I know that's crazy for me to say, right?
No,
Like,
I mean, we've seen some definitely less than great plays, but we've also seen Eliza pull off some miracles. Sometimes he ends up throwing those miracles away at the same time, but we've seen them.
and like I also gotta give credit to, Rutledge. He is by far probably the best mid laner in Ruby, and I definitely think that it will be interesting to see how far he can go against the Imperials.
Okay, that makes sense. I think it's definitely interesting. Out of all the out of both leagues, I think Ruby is probably the one that we're most likely to see upsets in, and I would not. Well, I don't think it's likely. I would not be. I don't think I'd end up leaving the stream shocked if we ended up with Spartans Imperials finals, and I think it would be a hell of a game to watch. So I'm definitely hoping for at least interesting games. Definitely, I don't think we're getting any 3-0s tonight. I'll say that much. But let's move up to our predictions for Sapphire real quick. See what you guys think about that. Match is a little bit more one-sided, I think, for a lot of people's opinions. But should still have some interesting ones. Wizards Typhoons. Okay, we actually do have some of those. Defoe and Fallen, you guys do believe in Typhoons despite Wizards' excellent season. Why? I gotta get the thought process behind this.
So I think the whole thing with Typhoons that people aren't realizing is they built a pretty wild amount of synergy over the split. So much so that they are continuing to play together on a pre-made, or some of it, yeah. There's 3 of them that are still playing together on a pre-made post this. So they've found enough success on the team to want to continue. And I think that's their extra practice because of the other team, I think is going to kind of propel them a lot quicker than what people are going to realize. There's definitely some, I'd say, harder matchups along the Wizards to Typhoons, but I think that the Typhoons as a team as a whole can show some fun stuff and might pull out that win that I'm hoping in a full best of 5.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's options there, but I don't know. I think Wizards have just been so consistent all season. I will say, though, Hyper Dragon, Hero One Trick has definitely put on a show. Leviathan, very good. Harry, like, Typhoons are definitely not a bad team. And I think in a best of 5, there's a lot more opportunities for them to come back. I do think they at least have to be a little bit creative when it comes to draft. I think in a straight fair game, it's going to be very hard for them to play into it, but I think there's a lot of ways that they can maneuver things to their advantage. Moving over to the Raiders and Skeletons match, though, definitely a lot closer, I think. Skeletons have had some rough patches, have had some really good patches, seem to have mostly ironed out their consistency and be definitely in the upper end. But Raiders have been doing really well all season. Do we think that maybe Skeletons are just better on the day, better in certain positions? What are your thoughts on that?
Unlike with Typhoons and Wizards, where I think it's going to be an extremely close series that could go either way. Like Leviathan, I feel like you can never count him out. But with the Raiders Skeletons game, I definitely think out of all 4 series today, it's going to be the closest to one-sided that we're going to have. And I've got that feeling that the Skeletons are going to be the ones to take it home.
All right, Melee Vein, anything else to add to that, or in the same boat?
I would have to agree. I'm a certified #1 Ixie fan. I've seen Ixie play pretty incredibly before. I remember watching Bob Robertson also in Exhibs and just thinking, wow, that guy is actually really, really good, especially on the Swain and stuff like that. So I think the Skeletons have the potential to. I don't know if I fully agree with them clearing, you know what I mean, but I do think they have the potential to win.
All right. Well, before we head off, I definitely want to get some more opinions on tonight's games, specifically. Obviously in our featured matchup, Spuds and Imperials, we're looking at like sort of a roll for roll thing. So we've discussed a little bit about Death and KMZ. But what about the more even matchups? Things like Raikou and Lucy. I think that's definitely the closest thing to watch. And if Imperials want to win through bot lane, I think it's definitely going to be on them to facilitate Raikou. Having played against these players, who do you think ends up coming out on top between the two?
I honestly think it's really, really close. I don't want to say that I think that one will come out on top over the other. I think it'll be who takes the opportunity first, who's given the opportunity. I think whoever is, I want to say, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say. Whoever is assisted the most, I think will really come out on top.
Raikou or Lucy? Which Spuds or Imperials are you talking about?
I'm talking about Lucy and Raikou. I'm talking about either one
Okay.
of them.
I think he means more so which AD carry he thinks gets more assistance will be the one to come out on
Okay,
top.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Like
So you
me
definitely think it's going to come down to like the 3v3s and the 4v4s towards bot, right?
100%.
Okay.
Me personally, like, while I give the edge and support to the Imperials, I'm gonna give the edge and AD carries to Spuds. Raikou to me is just too inconsistent as an AD carry, especially when you have one of the best supports in Ruby.
Okay. I mean that makes a lot of sense. I think that's pretty understandable. I would have to ask then, as much as we joke about it, between Beanloaf and Lizzo, I think that's also surprisingly close. I think other matchups a bit more one-sided, but all things considered, I feel like these two players are very dependent on the day, and I feel like if both of them show up like at their best tonight, I feel like they're pretty evenly matched.
I do kind of agree with that. I do play on a team with Lizzo in the jungle. The one thing I'll say about Lizzo is he is one hell of an initiator. Like he'll always find the time to initiate, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Most of the time it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. But he will definitely be there, and he will most likely be the one starting it. And I think Lizzo's problem is he'll get overwhelmed easily. So if there's anything going on around the map that's a little different, like outside of the norm, he might get overwhelmed a little bit. But like I said earlier, I've seen him do some pretty ridiculous stuff.
All right. And before the one last thing that I want to do, aside from a complete rundown, we have all these matches. What scores are you guys looking at tonight? Specifically Spuds Imperials, but other ones we'll go to as well. What do you guys have the score ending up being?
Like the overall game score?
Yeah, like overall game score. So like for me, the way I see it, I do think Spuds got it. I think it's gonna be a 3-2. I think there's a lot of ways that Imperial's gonna come, and I feel like it's probably gonna be a hard fought back and forth.
I
think-
definitely agree with a 3-2 as well.
Yeah, 3-2.
And I don't think there's a world where Spuds can win 3-0 or 3-1, but I think if Imperials are gonna bring it home, it's got to be a 3-2.
Yeah, I think for my prediction, I'm looking at a 3-1 for Spuds.
All right, I see it. And last of our Ruby division, Spartans versus Kittens. What do you guys have as your own game score? Not to reveal too much, you know. Obviously, we want to see confidence, but being real, do you guys think it's going to a 3-2? Do you guys think that's your win, or do you guys think you can take it in a 3-1?
I have been waiting all season to play against who I think is my only competition for the best jungler in Ruby. He dodged us whenever we played in the regular season. I want a full 5-game banger. Anything less is disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. I've already opened my second monster for today. I'm in it for the long run. This is my total not biased opinion, but 3-2. I do think.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're gonna head off for tonight. Wishing all of our players good luck, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the finals. Hopefully all of you guys play well, and at least if not, I hope all the matches go well. I hope you get that 5-game banger that you've been praying for. But for those watching, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be back in just a couple minutes to have our first game of the Spuds versus the Imperials. Hopefully you'll all tune in, and don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Otter Draft League for our semifinals. Tonight we have the Spuds versus the Imperials down in Ruby, and it is sure to be a great one.
Yeah, it is sure to be something very exciting in this series. We have two teams. We have some storylines here, particularly Lizzo versus KMZ, the true enemies of the draft league, fighting it out once again. This time, last season we saw these two players face off against each other in finals. This time, well, they're going to be knocking each other out in semifinals. So, will KMZ be able to get his revenge on Lizzo tonight and make it into the finals for him to lose as he always does? Or will Lizzo be going for that repeat finals finish and potentially even a repeat season victory here? So a lot is on the line for a lot of these players here, and not just in this game, but in our other semifinal matches as well. Unfortunately, we are in the draft, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Let me pull up. All right, I just pulled up the mainstream.
All right, we'll get back. We'll get back. It's fine.
Yeah, so looking at the draft, we do have a couple of bans coming through. We've got the Zach, I think is going to be a permaban this series against Lizzo.
Okay, we're back.
Very much targeting that champion, that player. We've also got the Volibear as well, hitting a couple of different players on the side of the Imperials. Meanwhile, it looks like the Imperials are just going to be targeting comfort, targeting good champions that are played by the side of the Spuds. And finally, the Lilia, once again. Lizzo taking a lot of heat here in our first round of bans from the side of the Spuds.
Yeah, 3 jungles, although I guess Volley definitely is a flex pick for them. We've seen a flex top and jungle. We also see the Xinjiao ban banning the new cinematic champ. Becky, have you seen the new cinematic yet? The Spirit Blossom one?
I have not.
We got a Xinjiao focused cinematic in 2025. Can you believe it?
I mean, considering how big he is in pro play, I feel like he kind of deserves it.
True. Although Aurelia is still the legendary skin, so we get it.
Yeah. Well,
We get it.
she's gonna sell. Xinjiao will not.
New champion teaser too.
Even if Xinjiao's my boy, he's not gonna sell anything. I'm sorry.
He's got his fancy little 1350 skin. We can be happy.
I am happy about that. He deserves it. He's worked long hours for many years. He deserves a little bit of credit. As we have the Hui insta-locked in for the Spuds.
Imperials are arcane viewers? Arcane enjoyers?
And, the Imperials are going for the arcane bat chest combo of Jinx and Vi.
Bat chest.
Yeah, not too surprised to see Jinx picked up.
No.
I think Jinx has been like the big champion across both this draft league and any league, really. Just reliable, a win condition, a good champion, and you need some of those in the game. Meanwhile, Spuds are going for a lot of lockdown here. The Maokai and Pantheon looking like a draft straight out of LCK right now. So we've got the Maokai likely going support and the Pantheon in jungle, and the Ahri blind. Well, not blind. Ahri will be the response into Hui.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Obviously, we got this matchup that we've seen so many times before, the Ahri being able to counter that Hui quite well. We do see the Pantheon picked up classic champion that is a bit of a flex, but I assume we can probably see it going jungle, although Maokai and Pantheon both very flexible. Both 3 roles, give or take, the same 3 roles, top jungle support, so we'll see if we end up seeing him, although I know Maokai top lane and Pantheon top, both of those champs not as present as we've seen them in the past, especially not in the modern day. So it'll be fun to watch. But Imperials definitely have that much more aggressive comp, and we talked about this a bit on Auto Talk, how it feels like the team that wins is going to be the team that has a bit more play around bot side, at least the bot lane that wins. And the Ari and Vi can very easily go on those roams and help out a lot. And I like that we're saving that support counter pick just to make sure that we can double down on that game plan. Meanwhile, we have the Gwen topside, good into what we've already seen, and is already just a generally reliable pick. So Imperials, I think, so far, so good. And we'll have to see if they get countered, if there's anything more interesting, or if things end up normal in the set. Could throw a bit of a wrench into that plan.
Yeah. This would be going to Boat Chicken on the set here, unless he's getting subbed out. I believe. Well, he's not getting subbed out. The Spuds have all their bans, so this would be Boat Chicken on the set this game. The blind Gwen, I believe that's something the Imperials top laner does enjoy to play. So picking that up, just looking for it doesn't matter who you play, I'm gonna beat you.
Ooh.
As we've got the Ziggs rounding that out, and that's gonna go bot lane.
Yeah,
with
that's gotta be a
the
Ziggs bot.
Maokai.
You're sure it's the Maokai?
Oh right, yeah, Pantheon.
I feel like it's gonna be Pantheon's Ziggs, right? I feel like that's probably a better way, just so that you're not getting screwed. Oh, I like this. I like this.
Ooh, yeah.
This is big. This is two of those big carries, both on that magic damage. I mean, don't get me wrong, the set in the Pantheon can pump out good damage, but yeah, locking in the Galio here, really smart. That's going to be a really good support pick. Doesn't matter what mage you throw in there. And I feel like now you have to throw the Pantheon down there, because if you're going, Maokai Ziggs into a Galio, that Galio is just going to rush an all magic mantle, and you're going to lose every 2v2. You're going to be super vulnerable to any type of dives with the Vi, with the Ari. Big roams can come out from the Galio because they have so much pressure. So it's going to be a really rough decision, and it's going to force Spuds to maybe make some concessions on their positions, depending on where they want things to go. But I really like this from Imperials. I think this was I think Spuds definitely maybe overcooked with these drops. The bright side for them is that they have a lot of range and a lot of ways to disengage with both the Maokai and the set ultimate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways they can do this.
Yeah, I think that there is a ton of disengage here, and also a ton of lockdown as well. Yeah. If they can find a good angle to get on to the Jinx, or, take out the Ari, they can choose if they want a player to die. The problem is that although they do have a bit of burst, I mean, Hui is a very good burst champion, and Ziggs can do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks of playing double mage is that your sustain damage is a little on the lower side. So once you unload your full combo, that's it. And if Galio is the champion absorbing all of that because of his big magic resistance, or if you've got Gwen who just goes into her shroud and pretends you don't exist, it becomes a lot more difficult to actually do any damage. So it is going to require the Spuds to play very carefully. I do think the Spuds, because of the fact that they've got the Pantheon, and even the set in some ways, they're sort of opting into playing a little bit more into the early and mid game, trying to beat down the Imperials before that Jinx and Gwen can come online. So we'll see if the Imperials have the tools to stop that from happening. Before we throw it, I gotta ask, looking at this first draft here, what are you feeling in terms of who's taking this? It feels like you're leaning more towards Imperials, but...
I'm leaning heavy towards Imperials. I like the disengage, but I just feel like Vi with the cease and desist just has such an easy way in. Ari on any flanks. The Gwen has that shroud that, yeah, you can sort of fight her with your carries, like in her, or sorry, you can fight them with your melee champs in there, try and slow her down. But Hui and Ziggs aren't going to be able to do anything until she gets in close. Probably going to have to blow a Satchel Charger or Fear after that shroud disappears. And it just feels like there's so many ways in, especially with the combination of the Vi and the Galio, right? The cease and desist goes right into the middle of the enemy team. You back it up with the hero's entrance, and it's just really, really hard to do anything. The thing I'm looking at is the Jinx is a little bit alone in a lot of these fights. There's a lot of all-in. So I feel like the answer is you need to land big damage on that Jinx so that your set, your Pantheon, your Maokai, right? That someone can try and deal with that Jinx while everything else is going on. Because if that Jinx gets excited, even if you manage to peel back from the initial fight, if they get that first pick, you're going to be stuck with people near on top of you. A Jinx is going to start running you down, and there's just no way for you to win, right? So it's going to be a lot on the start of the fights. If Imperials land that good engage, if Spuds can't disengage properly, I think it's very clear that Imperials win those team fights. If Spuds are able to keep their distance, I think it's going to be very hard for Imperials to fight through the poke. So I think it's really a skill matchup, but it's going to come down to the tempo of these teams on the objectives.
Yeah. I would agree. It is really going to come down to who has the advantages going into those big item breakpoints, those big objectives. If the Spuds can kind of maintain a solid lead through the early and mid game, I do think their chances of winning are significantly higher. Wow, if they're winning, they might win. Their
Amazing analysis.
Truly great. I think that their champions are better fit for that kind of brawling. If they can keep the Imperials down to a point where even if they were to dig out of the hole, the Spuds are just in a better position. That also gives the Spuds a chance, but it is very difficult. I think that I don't know. I do think the Imperials with the Galio there sort of sealed the deal on this first game. But with that said, we'll go ahead and throw it to break. When we come back, we'll be in game 1 of our semifinal series here in the Ruby division between the Spuds and Imperials. Stick around. We've got our first humdinger of a match coming at you after the break.
Hello, everyone. Welcome on to the Rift for Game 1 of our match, the Imperials versus the Spuds. And we're already seeing a normal 5-point start, not surprising. We do actually see Rutledge on the Ziggs, Lucy on the Hui, rather than the other way around. I think that makes a little bit more sense, the Hui, a bit more versatile, especially when it comes to dealing with that Galio Jinx, so I think that's pretty smart. Rutledge probably going to have a bit of an easier time with that Sassel charge, and a little bit more poke into the Ahri. So I think overall, better matchups, but generally I think this was about expected, where everyone's going with the positions. I think we did expect to see that Pantheon if they were going to go with that mage bot lane, which, you know, I don't think we're going to see set jungle nowadays, so we're just going to get the Maokai. I don't know. I don't know about that one. That sounds like that sounds like a certified cherry classic right there.
Yeah, it's you'd have to be really feeling it, I think, to opt into going with the the set jungle in the year of our Lord 2025. So we're not gonna see that, obviously, but yeah, I think having Lucy on the Hui, I feel like it doesn't necessarily matter lane-wise. The Ziggs may be able to apply more pressure to the Ahri early on than Hui can, because Hui is a bit of a sitting duck. He relies on having the right abilities at the right time to be a menace, whereas Ziggs just needs to pressure by landing a few good bombs, throwing out some mines, and he's in a perfectly fine spot. I think one of the big things to watch for is how exactly Boat Chicken does in the top side here, because Gwen is a champion that can get out of hand really fast. And I would not be surprised. Boat Chicken, throughout the season, has been a bit of a question mark for the Spuds, whereas, you know, Rutledge and usually KMZ and Lucy can hold their own. Boat Chicken has been a bit unreliable in the top lane. Some games he looks like a certified god gamer, you know, the greatest you've ever seen. In some games he looks like a beginner bot. So hopefully we get to see a good look on the Boat Chicken today. He promised me 3 games, 3 quick ones tonight. KMZ, on the other hand, told us we'd be up until 2 a.m. So, you know, we'll see who wins out on the day. I want to believe in the Boat Chicken, of course. He's my homie. He's my boy. He's my hero. But I don't necessarily trust him as Lizzo was going for a little bit of a cheeky invade there. Honestly, yeah. If not for the lane states, I think that could have worked out better, because Beanloaf was very low. Maokai does burn a lot of HP in his first clear, whereas Vi is a very dangerous early brawler. So I do like the idea from Lizzo there. It doesn't really pan out, but I don't think it'll amount into anything other than a little bit of an earlier reset for Beanloaf, who now gets to recall a little bit earlier, get that first item, first big purchase, and then head up to the top side there, going for the Giant's Belt, a curious choice. But for right now, looking just kind of standard laning.
I'm trying to think what that's building into, right? Because obviously if you have the 900, you're building Ashes, you're just going for that. So yes.
This is one of those cases where it's like, he knows something I don't. I always assume this when I don't know what's going on, is that the player knows something I don't.
Is it, I mean, like, I guess it's just Heartsteel, question mark? Like...
probably? Seems a bit bizarre,
I don't know.
But...
I don't know what else you would rush, right? It's probably not the Unending Despair. It's probably not the Warmogs. If you were going Winters, you would just get the tier. So it's like, definitely not Jaksha, right? Like Randuin's doesn't make sense either into like the damage. Like I assume it's just Heartsteel, but I still feel like that's like a bit of a strange rush with the current team comp. I feel like if you wanted to go full tank like without anything, I feel like you just go for a Bomby Cinder into like full support items, and you just build the locket and things to back up your team, make sure you don't get dove on. But I guess if you're thinking you might be solo frontlining with the Pantheon, if you're going to stick Boat Chicken in a side lane, it makes sense. But I feel like there's more efficient items nowadays, especially in jungle.
Yeah, I would say that as certified Maokai enjoyer, I wouldn't go this. I feel like you're just better off picking up Bommies, and Bommies has a lot of good items it can build into. It's a flexible item. It speeds up your clears. Maokai his clears aren't ridiculously fast as Boat Chicken's going for a solo. Just slam dunking that guy. Putting that guy in the basket is for a solo bolo right there on the Vay caution.
People can say what they want about Boat Chicken. Everyone's always like, oh, I don't think he's going to change the game. Dude, Boat Chicken has been proving the haters wrong all season.
Yeah,
all
that's
season.
Me. I'm the haters. I hate to admit it, but that's me. I'm the haters.
It's me. I'm haters. I'm haters.
I'm haters. I've been haters. But hey, he's turning up right now. Turning up the heat in the top lane. Although minion-wise, it's all right. The Boat Chicken doesn't know how to CS anyways. If the fact that he's even in CS is a win for him.
That's why we have to win every fight, because we're never gonna win on CS. We just have to get our 1v1s. That's what's important. Death.
I respect that. Death. That
check Cash App, check Venmo, check PayPal, check all three. Honestly,
bro got a payout right there. A payout big style.
Was that?
That was.
Look, we saw 3 people in mid. There's no way. Oh, the solo kill in the bot lane though. I didn't know if that rocket was gonna kill Raikou. The solo onto Lucy. I wasn't even commentating over that. I was like, I don't know. Does Lucy die? I mean, they have the flat. Yeah, like, but no, just the solo kill on the bot side. I guess PayPal for PayPal. I don't know what some of those players are doing. That was certainly a sequence of events that happened in the game League of Legends.
Yeah, a sequence of events unfolded in front of us, and we can't look away, no matter how much we want to. But hey, I think in the end it actually does end up, I think, fine for the Spuds. Both teams end up trading the neutral objectives there, with the Drake going over to Imperials and the first round of Grubbins going over to Spuds, as Death is dying once again, appropriately for his name.
Okay. You are level 3. Like, why?
Bro?
Death gotta make some decisions here. Vaycaution also eating a lot of punishment in the top side. Boat Chicken has just been doing such a good job trading, although doesn't have the W now.
No!
Flashes into the As I say that, just immediately gives me the Boat Chicken classic.
Our hero is down. He's fallen.
That is the caster curse special. I'm sorry, Boat. I cursed you. I did not mean it.
Yeah, Boat Chicken falls there, but I feel like this top lane is going to just be very scrappy in a lot of ways. So I'm not gonna hold it against Boat quite yet. There's still plenty of game left for him to play, and plenty of game left for us to observe here. As I do not know what Death is doing right now. He is doing the roams, the going for vision, trying to play onto mid. Like, it's putting a lot of pressure onto Rutledge, which is good, because Rutledge is one of the real big stars of the Spuds. But unfortunately, like, the Spuds just have a good read on him. His Boat Chicken's gonna fight.
Yep, 2v2 up on the top side. Hey, without the Needle Storm, Boat Chicken does have that ult. Finally gonna use it. Needs a big W, but he's already used it before. Lizzo has to get more damage. Vaycaution over the wall, and the bomb goes wide. Now a Q, the Vault Breaker in, and a double kill for Lizzo picked up in that 2v2 in the top side. Grub's coming up soon. Dragon's still in 2 minutes, and with full control over it, Imperials in a pretty good spot right now, in a big driver's seat moment that they have. They just got the solo kill, puts down Boat Chicken again. Now Lizzo up 2 kills. Raikou doing very well on that bot side. Death needs to catch back up in XP. Make sure to get that hero's entrance probably before that next dragon. That's going to be a big ultimate. So making sure that we don't we don't jump over a wall into 3 people for no reason is going to be a big deal. Because if we can get that hero's entrance before the minute 30 mark for that dragon, having that combo, the cease and desist plus that hero's injury, you're going to be able to get a really huge dive onto that backline. Probably force flashes out of both carries.
Yeah, we'll see what they can make out of that. But that was a great play on top side for Lizzo there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like Boat Chicken and Beanloaf did, like, they had their buttons, but it's just maybe burned some cooldowns a little too early, as Rutledge taking a huge amount of punishment here in the mid lane. Superstar mid laner really needs a reset right now. Does have the TP, so can take that at his leisure. But feels kind of bad to get the, oh my god, that man's dead.
Swedish Pancakes with the solo kill. That's definitely something I don't think a lot of people had on their bingo card for today. The Rutledge solo kill by Swedish Pancakes. But yeah, with the Catalyst of Aeons too, no big damage, just the running off the raw base power of Ari's kit there. And Imperials, I think they're shutting up the haters right now. They're playing very well. Obviously, nowhere near over, but a 1k gold deficit at 12 minutes going into the second dragon could be a big deal. Although, I say that there's a lot of plates falling on the bot side, but like, we're looking at this dragon. We're looking at the power of the Jinx Rocket, right, to try and land something from downtown, but just getting poked out, right? Lucy's just been doing such a good job landing these W's that all of those, like, powerful long-range Jinx spells, they don't have the time to match, right? You're not a mage. It's more like to weave in between autos, and Raikou not being able to get in range, not being able to get those autos, means that you're going to lose the tower plates, you're going to lose priority on the bot side, and you're probably going to lose that drag, which was unfortunate. They had a decent setup for it, but just getting a little bit too chunked out. Although they might try and come around, go for a steal.
Yeah,
or goes down.
No.
Nah, the rocket lands some decent damage.
Oh, they're going to try and
Finish on the flank, though. Yeah, lots of damage on Beanloaf. Big taunt in the backline from Death. Now the rocket comes through. Big bomb to Hero's entrance, but he gets rooted up. Lizzo is out. Swedish Pancakes is still in, though. And they're still winning the fight. Raikou needs to get excited, needs one more auto, and that's it. Double kill now from Swedish Pancakes. Huge charm onto Rutledge. Now going forward a little bit more. Lucy trying to run away, but Death has wrapped around, lands the Justice Punch, and one more rocket puts Lucy in the grave. Double kill for Raikou, and Imperials with a 4-for-0. Awesome, excellent flanks, and a great taunt from Death.
Yeah, the Spuds are able to start that Drake. They get the Ocean there, but the Imperials, they kind of set up a great trap there. They had a really good flank angle from 3 different sides and forced the Spuds to take an unfavorable fight. And oh my god, I guess KMZ just ultied for that one. Huh. How very interesting. But yeah, no, the Imperials decided, okay, we lost the Drake, but we can definitely go and keep the aggression on. So they decided to just keep running at them. Lizzo especially maintaining that front line, diving in deep to get the first kill, backed out, but Swedish still had everything. So it became just a matter of following up the Ahri, some good charms, good zaps, good CC. Overall, just ended in the Imperials getting a big win. And now we're seeing a bit of a confrontation here that goes to the Imperials.
Yeah. I mean, they've just been killing it. Look at it. 4k gold lead at 14 minutes. 3 kills for all your carries. No deaths on any of them. Only in the top side. 1 death on Bay Caution, right? Death has been eating most of the, deaths, but I guess living up to your namesake isn't a bad deal in this situation when you've been able to facilitate so much for your team, especially in these team fights. Lucy eats a taunt. Raikou kind of low, though. Probably doesn't want to force a fight here, especially with Spiraling Spare up. KMZ with the flash and the ignite, also very scary, so has to be careful. Go Chicken, just going for the 1v1 onto Vey. Already used the W, so has to be careful. Although Vey doesn't have that Needle Storm, might not even need it, forcing the flash out of Boat Chicken there.
Yeah,
now,
and that's gonna be...
won't be able to get the
Oh
Another solo kill? No,
Well,
it was a flank.
no,
Okay.
It was a flank. Oh, we're getting a replay. We're getting an instant replay. So what happens to Lucy, aka Paw Job, right here?
Huge shot from Death once again. Big charm and Swedish Pancakes finished off. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, full CC lockdown. Just good vision control from the side of the Imperials, paying off in spades. You can see they got the 2 control wards down there. They have full vision control on that bot side, likely remaining from when they took the Drake earlier, or just kind of, you know, set up for the lane phase. And just kind of a lack of respect coming in from the side of the Spuds onto the roam. And oh no, Rutledge is dead. That was a full lockdown out of cease and desist. I mean, these are the
just to someone in 2025.
Yeah, imagine not having a dash. Couldn't be me. You gotta be able to move, fellas. Satchel charge is not good enough. Man, the Spuds are looking a little rotten this game. Looking a little raw, as it were, a little undercooked.
That's the famine right there. We're getting famine.
This is the Spuds famine. We gotta see if they feast, and they do not in the top side as Boat Chicken gets solo killed once again by Vay Caution. I think that was the
Oh, Raikou flashing forward, gets stunned up. Beautiful cleanse.
Oh.
Nice flash though from Lucy to dodge out on it. Raikou firing, back dodging everything,
no.
gets excited, and now
Bye-bye.
Lizzo, nice dodge on the E, and it's gonna be Raikou picking up the double downtown with the shock pistol. Jinx now 5-0 and 3, and I mean, again, we talked about an auto talk. It really does feel like the bot lane that gets more help here is the one that's going to win. And Lizzo and Swedish have been so good facilitating these fights. But Raikou and Death in the 2v2s have just been phenomenal as well.
Yeah. It's really tough to say. It just feels like the Imperials are fully online here. They're playing so well around each other, so well around their cooldowns, getting good flanks, getting good angles onto the side of the Spuds, and the Spuds are just like wandering into every single unfavorable play they can find. It's like they've optimized it in a way, as Vay Caution will get taken out here. Just kind of a full lockdown from Beanloaf and Boat Chicken. But that was a lot of tools burned by the two of them just to get one kill, as KMZ will be in trouble, but will just get out of dodge there. Staying alive. Man, it feels really risky to be Lucy this far out, but it looks like they're gonna go for the Drake rather than the Hwei, who will kind of wander over. I don't know if this is a good idea as they... But never mind, it was a great idea. Folks, it was a great idea.
I love the mic cutting out. It just, your mic just peaked. We just hear, ah, and then immediate cutout right there.
Yeah.
Now Imperials back on their own up top. Ooh, might be able to collapse. Lizzo, cease and desist onto Rutledge. Death going in, gonna be able to flash over the wall. 3-man taunt. Now Rutledge firing in, but it's not gonna be enough. Raikou with 3 at the end of the fights.
Goodness.
Big
gracious.
rocket, so much damage onto everyone. Just so far ahead. Now moving towards the Herald, and it looks like the Dragons just don't matter. Imperials want the tempo objectives. They want that Herald. They're gonna want that Otacon when it comes up, and we know it's gonna come up. Probably is that Ruinous Otacon gonna be big damage. Swedish doing such a good job, so much damage onto Lucy over here.
It is unfortunate to be in this kind of situation. Okay.
This is the charm. Unfortunate.
It happens
Almost
to the best
had
of
it.
us. Saw that in LCK yesterday. All right, maybe it was a couple days ago. It's all right. Happens to all of us. Happens to the good players. Happens to the bad players. It feels really bad to be KMZ is just dead to die here. Although, unless
Rubinlove going in, knocking back. They caution under the tower. Has to be careful with that needle storm. Manages to dodge the W, but unfortunately, it's right back into the stun. And it'll be just a matter of time. Vay Caution goes down. Okay.
no.
Almost made it out there. That would have been insane. But Lucy picks up the kill with a nice severing bolt from above. Picking up Vay Caution, punishing them for a bit of an overextension. Rocket goes down. Beanloaf so low. That rocket just connected, but doesn't manage to find the kill, unfortunately. Imperial's still in a good spot, but yeah. A little bit of an overextension.
Vay Caution, giving a little bit of hope to the side of the Spuds, who are in desperate need of it. They are 6K down here. We've certainly seen bigger deficits, and we've seen bigger deficits thrown by a team with Lizzo Mukbang on it. So, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that this game... Oh, man. jeez, oh, he doesn't even get the turret. No! Never mind. It's out of the realm of possibility. So it's certainly not impossible for the Spuds here, but unfortunately, they're kind of getting to a point where, unfortunately, they've got a lot of melee minions on their team, and they don't really have the damage to back up those melee minions. Pantheon, of course, support Pantheon is a stun bot after the early game. So Lizzo's just gonna try and one piece this guy. Oh no, the fear whiff! No, Lucy,
And now, and the all
everything's whiffing.
No!
That's exactly
Not
hit the
like
emote,
this.
Lizzo. Lizzo, you gotta hit the emote. Come on. I'd pause too. I'd pause too. I'd have to leave.
Sure.
You get owned like that. That's a moment where you have to step outside and go like look at some birds.
Take a
There's
breather
just-
right there.
There's no hope for you.
Damn, that one was rough.
Whew. Yeah. So, I wonder what the technical issue is that led us here, or if this really is we're just.
Uh-oh.
Not again.
We have word that someone has an emergency.
Not again.
Oh,
Oh,
god,
no.
not again.
Not again.
Not like this.
We actually can't speak on this any further, but
No.
oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So apparently everything's good now. Should be dealing with the client everything shortly, but oh man,
That's a little scary.
the fear of God struck into me right there. That was terrifying.
Yeah, that was actually the win condition for the Spuds. But you know, it is gone now. So we do have the Herald crashing into the turret, just a full siege on all sides here. And the Spuds this team is not very well equipped to play against a split map. They want to be playing together, but they just can't do it. They don't have the ability to, they don't have the map pressure to, they don't have the items to. It becomes very easy for the Imperials to just sort of split them, you know, send the Ari here, send Vey Caution there, force the Spuds to have to pick a place to sit in and fight or die trying, or even both in this case.
Yeah, oop, another rocket there. KMZ goes down. And the scoreline kind of says it all. 6-23. Almost a 10k goal deficit. 22 minutes into the game. Lizzo's coming around on the flank again. Death, beautiful charm from Swedish Pancakes. Gets a lot of damage down onto Lucy. They don't want to dive quite yet. That inhibitor tower is still very scary. And they are building mostly damage, so they do have to be careful. But Dragon up in 30 seconds can be able to hopefully snag that one away. And it looks... Okay. Never mind. Beam Love just steps forward. Another kill down. Somehow we got the Voracious Otacon, which I don't even know how that's possible with how many kills we've gotten, but sure. I guess it's been locked in. Lizzo goes a little bit too far, but Big Hero's entrance now knocks up onto 2, although Death stuck under that tower, and now might be the punishment. Death goes down. Swedish Pancakes on the run, but Chicken shouldn't be able to close that distance, I don't think.
Oh,
All
KMZ.
comes through from KMZ. Nice choppers from Raikou to land the root, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's telegraphed. You just throw the chompers onto the spot where the Pantheon lands. It's not like... This isn't rocket science, but it is certainly a huge punish there. Or I guess, maybe not a punish, but certainly. Vey Caution, hello. Welcome to the game. Dude, welcome back.
Sure.
Don't know what that guy was doing. He got lost, I think.
Lost in the sauce right there.
Oh, no.
Rocket! Big pick on a Lucy right before the dragon. Although again, it is Spuds with full control over this dragon. This puts them on soul point somehow.
Win conditions? Smiley face?
Potentially. I mean, they're still down about 10,000 gold, but if they're gonna find a win condition, having 3 dragons sitting on Infernal Soul, certainly not the worst one in the world.
Yeah, certainly having the Infernal will feel good for the Spuds if they somehow stumble their way into a 4th Drake, completely undeserved. Maybe the Imperials just are allergic to that objective. Taking a pause here to kind of look around while we have a moment. We have a minute on the Baron. Otacon is up, and the Imperials do have first crack at that. It looks like that's where the Imperials are headed. Again, as you said, that is voracious, and that is massive for the Imperials if they can play with it. Voracious alone, I think, with the map state, should just be lethal if the Imperials can, you know, pilot the objective properly. Use the revives to their advantage here. Even then, I think, you know, going the Otacon, converting that into a potential Baron, both are big wins, but it looks like the Imperials are gonna be going to just try and run it in with the revives, and I think that is what you want to do. You want to force the Spuds to die, because although death timers are not that long for the Spuds, they are still long enough that you take out one or two of them, and it is really bad. You also do have 2 TPs, so They Caution and Swedish can TP right back in after they get the withdrawal. So that is a huge boon for them, as KMZ, the $600,000 man, goes down here, as we got a skirmish.
Yeah, Flash and now Raikou picking up another kill. The withdraw comes out. Death has to be careful into the tower, taking a lot of punishment here. Huge pancakes, nice severing bolt. Puts him to about a third. Still 2 for 1. Lizzo has a respawn, or withdrawn, I guess, but doesn't have the TP. So unfortunately, it's not going to be able to get back in time. The Baron up, though, means that they might just be able to try and tempo this out, go for that Baron play. They have to be careful, though. As you can see, there's so much artillery. There's so much long-range pressure that without the Baron, without these super minions, they just don't have a really effective way to try and push in on this base without trying to go for some insane dive.
The dive is really what is going to make the difference, if it can even happen at this point. Baron is going to be started up here. That's just going to be a clean and easy take from the side of the Imperials. Spuds very much on their last legs here. Everything on the full map is in the Imperials' favor. There really is... It's very hard to think of a win condition at this point, aside from getting a the lucky soul. And then, even then, I think it's still pretty out of the cards here. You are 12,000 gold down. You have 3 melee minions, no carries, no hope, no future, as Death has decided to die.
Yeah, Go now once again, although it has opened it up for a really nice flank from They Caution in the back. Needlestorm picks up the first. Bow Chicken has to be careful. W is in the wrong direction.
Chicken, no.
They Caution picking up a second. Should go down at the end of it all, but Rutledge picking up that kill. Not going to be enough, as already we have 2 inhibs going down. Last one on the top side, but there might be enough damage. The Baron buff minions pushing in. Although we'll have to see with Imperials, without any of their front line, if they decide they just want to back up here, try and make sure to play for that soul stopping. They know they have the Baron. They know they have now advantage with super minions. They don't need to do it too quickly. Now, they got to remember to end. We don't want to see another zero no end for any reason moment here. We've already had that once where we just... The classic Garen moment, being up 10,000 gold and just doing nothing with it for 20 minutes, but it looks like they're trying to set up traps, play around this dragon, make sure to stop that from happening, and then use these super minions to try and push in, pressure topside, get that triple inhib, and just force the game to end with the sheer amount of resources, minions, just everything that they have all at once before Spuds have time to scale.
I mean, I don't know if there's scaling coming in for the Spuds. I also am wondering what the hell the Imperials are doing. Why are we dragging our feet here? We had a Baron. We had the Otacon revives. Why are we not winning the game?
Well, you gotta get dragged first. I also like to note that the spectator client so messed up that it's not even just the Hex and Chem Soul anymore. Dragon Souls just don't work after the first one. It was Ocean Dragon that entire time that it looked like, for some reason.
Huh?
Yeah, in the top left, it was just showing Ocean Dragon. The Infernal doesn't even work anymore. Classic Riot moment right there. Now it's showing
Oh.
Infernal. Thank God, but it's for some reason when it's spawned, it shows Ocean. I don't know why. It's the
Yeah, we'll get a functioning spectator client next year. It's got the biggest budget ever.
Surely.
All inhibs are down. This game is a foregone conclusion and has been for at least 5 minutes, and we're still here because why would we want to go to sleep early? As we've got our
I think a
finishing
30-minute end. I think a 30-minute end sounds about right. Raikou with the first one, now with the second. Lizzo doesn't even go down that entire time. Are they gonna get a clean ace here? Flawless fight. Lizzo has to be careful, but so many rockets, so much attack speed. Death picking up a double, and Imperials with the clean ace taking it out 10-35. Dominant first game, coming out of the gate swing and showing everyone that they cannot be counted out.
Yeah, I thought that this series was going to look closer. I thought that this series was, at least in our first game here, was going to, we get to cut our teeth on like a 40-minute kind of back and forth slobber knocker, and instead it was just like the Imperials got a lead,
And they didn't let go of it. No.
and they did not drop it. They had it for functionally the entire game. They won a bunch of fights around major objectives, even if they ended up losing those objectives, just playing really smart around flanks, utilizing vision very well, punishing overstepping from Boat Chicken or Lumi. So it really just became kind of, although it wasn't like perfect from the Imperials, I think early on there were quite a few missteps. Vey Caution could have shown more caution throughout the game. Death had a pretty rough early few minutes of the game. But once the team brought it together and all got on the same page, were able to get out of laning phase, I think we saw the real power of this roster.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And honestly, I know a lot of people were saying, oh, Spuds this, Spuds that. They just weren't pulling it together that game. Imperials just looked like a complete swapping of the seeds, right? With this, you would think Imperials ended the season second, but that's not the way it turns out, and we'll see. Spuds definitely need to go back to the drawing board because we've joked about the whole sack of potatoes approach, but it is true, and this comp it didn't feel like Spuds at their core. This did not feel like the heart and soul of the team. So I think going back, playing what they know, probably the best way to do it, right? Because if Imperials can just run something extremely standard and end up winning without having to be creative, what does that say for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing looking forward to to the next game is this is Fearless, and taking out the Hui. It's one of Swedish's better picks, so denying the Hui, even if you lost horribly on it, may pay off later in the series. But man, we burned a lot of good champions, but I think there are still plenty left on the board. I don't think the Spuds necessarily picked at full power. You could argue that they drafted terribly, but at the end of the day, we'll have to see what they do when we get into the draft for the next game, which will be coming at you in just a few moments.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another game. Game 2, in fact, and a lot of interesting champion knocked out. Still a lot of standards, so I don't expect to see anything too insane just yet. Saw a little bit of a spice in that first game, but did not work out for Spuds in the slightest, so I expect we're going to go down to the classic Spuds beatdown approach. I don't think there's anything much to say about that. I think that's what everyone's expecting. But there's definitely some interesting champs that we could see brought out because of that, and I think there's a lot of ways for it to be different. But at the end of the day, we are gonna have to wait and see. I expect Corki, Varus, those kinds of champions to get taken out quite early. Ashe also, just those really normal ones that we see a lot of teams running. But I'll wait and see. We are going to see another set of three junglers, the same three for Lizzo. No bans shaken up at all, actually. So, and the Misfortune, yep.
Okay, yeah, picking up a good 80 carry here. Misfortune, one of the best right now. Varus, it was never real. We dreamt him up. We actually invented that champion in a lab. He'll never be real. We shouldn't expect to see him until game 5. But yeah, the Misfortune is a very reliable pickup. Does well with how the Spuds, with how the Imperials like to play. Something that Raikou is good at. And if we're going to beatdown, if we're bringing the beatdown to the table, this is a great place to start with the Sivir here, bringing in the big beats with the On the Hunt. It's a Sivir comp, and it's just a Sivir comp, lol. You group and win. It looks like that's what we're building right now.
We are going back to classics, back to basics, baby. This is exactly what we expected. Already seeing it with the Sivir and the Amumu. I don't think there's a lot to say. I think we know exactly how Spuds are drafting. I think Imperials should have been ready for it. It is the sack of potatoes beat down approach that we've always talked about. Sivir, also a decent answer into the Misfortune. We see a Nocturne in response for some reason. We know that they're just going to be grouping and running at us, and we're picking Nocturne. Okay.
Oh, good. I love Jonathan Nocturne. He's my favorite champion. He always does well. He never loses. Nocturne is known to be very consistent and reliable and good and attractive and good and awesome.
Did you say good yet?
No. He's great, actually. So I have my beef with Nocturne as a champion. I feel like picking him this early in the draft is akin to a borderline giving up, it feels like to me. Maybe that's a bit harsh to say, but...
Okay, the Orianna, though, I like that pick.
It's tough.
The Vel'Koz as well for Rutledge. That's a Rutledge classic right there. That big math brain puts out a lot of range damage, going to really help. In the group, not as strong, but still lots of AoE, lots of ways that you can take out those champions, so I still like it. So far, I think the Nocturne is the only thing I've seen that I don't know if I can agree with fully, but there's a lot of things to still work out for this team. So I think especially on the back half of that draft, we're probably going to see another engage support, or at least a backup engage, and probably another either bruiser or tank top laner. Would not be shocked to see us saving top lane counterpicked for maybe a Kled, something that we've seen Boat Chicken play once or twice. So there's a lot of options still. I do expect still another piece of engage, probably 2 more pieces of engage for the Imperials, things that can help that ball. We already have like a ball delivery system, but things that can back up that Nocturne engage or go around it are very strong. We do see the Camille band out. Okay, so we do have Leona, so we do want top lane counter pick. So it is going to be on the Imperials to not do anything too crazy just yet, to hold out, wait to make sure that they can get that reliable top laner support that's good into Leona, the Alistar. Very standard response. And the Ornn,
also a bit of ball delivery.
I
think
the
Olaf is fascinating. It's a Vey caution champion, so that's definitely we're playing a little bit for comfort here, and we're playing a little bit for, again, we're picking the counter pick for Boat Chicken, which means that they caution is wanting to go with something something you feel confident on in the blind, something that, yeah, this guy's got nothing to stop me here. I'm gonna pog off right now on the Olaf, and we'll see if Boat Chicken has a response in the tank. Not sure what, but okay, that is a choice. It is a champion that I think is very much kind of interesting. I don't know if it's exactly the best option into the Olaf. In fact, it might be the worst option into the Olaf, all things considered. There's got to be a different champion we can pick that isn't Cho'Gath, but we've locked it in. So the Spuds have drafted a Sivir comp plus Vel'Koz for emotional support, whereas the Imperials have drafted big dive here with Nocturne, with the ball delivery service. They've got good lockdown to set up for Misfortune. They can play on different axes. They have a lot of variety in terms of the way they can play the game. So it's looking pretty good, I gotta say, for the Imperials once again here in Game 2. I feel like they've drafted a very strong comp for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like this is definitely the move speed Cho'Gath, especially with what they've already drafted. But yeah, Olaf, especially into that, a lot of ways for this to work. I definitely prefer Imperials comp. Again, feel like the Nocturne's out of place, but you know, we'll handle it when it gets there. There's a lot of ways to punish it. The big thing I'm worried about is if they do not get any of these leads, they're gonna have a really hard time cutting through this front line. Amumu, Leona, and the Cho'Gath, even if we don't end up running the full, the full Moose build, even if we end up running even if we do end up running the full Moose build, we end up running more of that AP, less of that tankiness, you're still at Cho'Gath. It's still some decent base stats, and if you're not ahead, gonna be hard to cut through before you die. So I think the Spuds, they're on comfort. Don't know if they have that same draft, but this is definitely their way of winning. This is definitely their shot. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think there's a lot of ways for them to work this out. I think they really just need to keep everything in mind, keep themselves centered, and make sure that they're not doing anything too crazy. Keeping the game plan to what they know. KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to keep it simple. I definitely am just feeling a little... I have my doubts about what these Spuds are doing. It is a very simple comp. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. But at the same time, they're not really bringing anything new to the table. They aren't really bringing anything that's that good, necessarily. They've got a lot of comfort. They're drafting a lot of champions that they like. But at the end of the day, they are still playing into what the Imperials have. And the Imperials have drafted a comp that, on paper, looks very good. I don't believe in Nocturne, though. So I'm going to say that the Spuds have got this one. Nocturne will always betray me in draft. I don't trust him. So that's my take on it. With that said, we're going to go to a quick break for the spectator layer. When we come back, we'll be in on the Rift for our next game. So stick around. We'll see if the Imperials can go to their match point or if the Spuds will be cooking this game. So we'll see.
All right, and welcome back on the Rift for game 2 of our match. We got some interesting things coming out here. We do have the Arcane Comet on Bow Chicken, the Doran's Ring as well, so I do expect that this is that more movement speed oriented build. However, might just be AP, as we don't see the Hail Blades, that very common start, although maybe it's just a poke so that they don't have to deal with that Olaf up in the top side. We see the Glacial Augment on Death rather than the Aftershock, so a lot more of that aggressive movement doesn't want as much, or maybe it's more for the peel, I don't know. I'm not a huge Alistar player. Fight already, though.
Oh, yeah, wow. Early fight.
Ooh, big pull in. Stun from KMZ. A flash now from Rutledge, but it's first blood over to Beanloaf. Taking a nice fight over the wall. Vaycaution now chasing down, though, with the axe. Big slows onto the rest of the team. That Q not landing. Flash forward from Death with the Glacial. Lands the Q on it, too, as KMZ keeps getting run down. And without any summoners, just a matter of time before that Olaf gets it. One more axe. Going to be able to take him out. And a very eventful level 1.
Yeah, very eventful level 1 here. We get a trade of 1-for-1. Olaf getting that first, getting a kill for the side of the Imperials. The Amumu will be picking up one on the other side. So Olaf is going to be coming to lane here with a pair of boots, which is interesting. It's certainly, I mean, it's not bad. It's good to have movement speed, especially on the Olaf, because you want to be able to stick on people. So having that in lane is going to feel pretty good for Vaycaution. Meanwhile, we're going to have to wait to see what Beanloaf decides to cash in here with the extra kill gold there. Amumu has a lot of options.
Bot side, though.
Fight.
Nice barrier from Lucy, and Death with no flash. Gonna mean that Lucy just gets out of there. Raikou should have cleansed it, should have been a bit faster on it, but unfortunately not there. Double summons from Lucy used, but still getting that early kill, gonna be able to get the wave in. Big advantage there. And you were mentioning the boots. I think a part of that is also, it helps a lot considering that the Cho'Gath Q can be hard to dodge, so giving yourself reliability on that gives you a lot of ways in and a lot of ways to avoid it. So I think that also might have been part of the reasoning behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's certainly good to have, but that kill there is a pretty good pickup for Lucy there in the bot side. Just getting an early engage with KMZ. What KMZ really likes to do on this Leona is just play super aggro. I mean, that's just KMZ in general in support. Just going hard aggro, in all the time, never out, which, you know, I respect that tremendously as a support enjoyer who also just right-clicks at the enemy and hopes for the best. I do respect that, so it's going well right now. It's a much better start this game for sure. Although Spuds were doing relatively well in the bot side last game.
As you say, Beanloaf is getting cut off of his camps on the top side. Snipe from Lizzo.
Amumu
Flash forward from Vaycaution.
Over.
Oh, the caster curse couldn't have come at a more perfect time. Oh, and Death in the mid lane too. The stun onto Rutledge. I don't know if they have the damage, but still.
I take
you really
no
just couldn't keep the mouth shut. You had to say something.
I take no responsibility for what just happened here. This is not my fault.
That's what they all say.
But yeah, that's you know, it's certainly could have been better. As Vaycaution almost gets a kill turn back around, but will avoid death on this day at least.
Another, speaking of Death, nice little knock up there, but might have been a little bit too much. Lucy running him down, lethal tempo now stacked, doing so much damage, and Raikou kept moving in trying to dodge something, don't really know what it was for. Took a lot more damage than necessary. Real Beanloaf, another auto, but a nice flash from Swedish Pancakes to avoid that E. Real Beanloaf not going to be able to land the kill there.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Amumu here. Not being able to grab that. For the time being, though, we do have our first round of objectives coming up pretty soon. So both of our teams here are going to be definitely looking to pick up what they can. It looks like the Spuds are going to be setting up for getting the bot side, getting the Drake on bot side. as Amumu is down here, but we'll have to wait to see. Amumu, unfortunately, classically one of those champions that is very fragile in terms of getting counter jungled. If you are playing Amumu, it is very easy for somebody to just walk up into your jungle and kill you, because you just really don't have a lot of early skirmishing power. And especially Nocturne, where if he tags you with his Q, he's running you down. It makes it very easy for Nocturne to just destroy you as the Amumu. His clears are fairly reliable, so it's certainly tough for... Ooh, that here is Boat Chicken is dead.
Nice solo kill. Another one. That is Vacaution 3-0 now on the top side, claiming the feat of warfare for the team. And another kill. The 3-0 Olaf is going to be terrifying going into these, not the grubs, but the next round objectives, like going once you keep fighting it, once you keep going for it, going to be very, very scary. And definitely going to be putting Boat Chicken in a deficit. Now down the TP and the flash. Going to be very, very vulnerable.
Yeah, and this is why I was very worried about the Cho'Gath pick. Is sure, it's like it's a scaling tank pick that doesn't necessarily hard lose, but you also have like no game into the Olaf. You're a big idiot. You're a big dumb moron as Cho'Gath in the top lane, and it just really seems like what we saw there from Vacaution is how the rest of this lane is going to go, especially now that Boat Chicken doesn't have that flash, doesn't have that TP. It'll just be a matter of Vacaution can just control the lane. It's Secret Lizzo.
Secret Agent Lizzo. In the enemy jungle, running down Beanloaf without any flash, without another hope. Another kill goes down. Now the 1,000 gold lead comes out. Raikou flashing over the wall. So... yeah, Lucy and KMZ doing well. Unfortunately now, though, Lizzo managed to get the ult off that blue buff, picks up one kill, or Steph picking it up with the Ignite. Or sorry, no, just, I think it was the E that actually ended up picking it up after everything is said and done, but still, really nice plays so far, and yeah, it's just not looking very, very good for them. Although Lucy's able to return and kill, Raikou just needs one more auto, not gonna be able to get it, and Lucy, once again, living by just a hair.
Yeah, Lucy narrowly escaping certain death there. Was able to pick up another kill, which is certainly not awful if you are as Swedish is going to die to the big old laser. Yeah, that's dead to rights right there. Certainly good for Lucy to pick that one up. Unfortunately, Sivir is one of those 80 carries that is not like a very dominant. She doesn't win games on her own. She's largely as good as she is because of her effective utility, and I just don't know if we're going to be seeing that come through, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Still plenty of game left to be played, though, so no need to count anyone out quite yet, as we have, of course, the Spuds are in a better position, or at least looking like they're in a better position than we saw them last game, where it was just
they're definitely in a better position. They were what? They were already down like 2,000-3,000 gold at the same point, so...
it was very hopeless last game. Now there's hope this game. I'm not going to say there's a lot of hope, but there is hope.
They're only down like 500 gold. They're up 3 grubs. I don't think it's that bad. I think a lot of the advantage is mostly on that top side with Vacaution. But Boat Chicken not going to give up. Getting a lot of damage. Going to try and land the solo kill on Pancakes. Nice pull with the shockwave. Going to keep him alive. But yeah, Boat Chicken definitely not giving up. Not giving up so far. Beanloaf getting run down. Vacaution finally here to pick something up. Lands some good damage, gonna force the flash out of Beanloaf, but no kills to be had. Lizzo coming around though. Might be able to punish Beanloaf on the camps. The ult comes through. Vision on, finally. Ult comes through. Curse the Sad Mummy. Don't know if Lizzo's gonna be able to keep the run down now. Use the spell shield to try and block the knockup. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit too early, but a nice bounce from Vacaution leads into a claw from Lizzo. Nice early plays there. and they're going to be able to get another kill, and probably not the top lane tower, but at least a couple plates should be secured, and that's going to make that gold lead even further. And, you know, again, I'm saying there's still hope, but yeah, I think that a lot of the lead in the top side, you're really relying on Lucy and Rutledge here. You really need to facilitate your carries in this game, because the rest of the team ain't going to cut it.
Yeah, the rest of the team is looking very much worse for wear. But having a winning lane is having some kind of advantage in the game is, again, better than last game. So there's certainly ways to play around this one, and we're just gonna have to wait to see if the Spuds can find that line to have Sivir bring him to the promised land, as Vaycaution is gonna chop up Boat Chicken under the turret here. It's really, the Cho'Gath is a non-factor in the lane now, so it's very easy for Vaycaution to just proxy here. And I think if you are Vaycaution, you have no real fear of the Amumu Cho'Gath, because you can just Ragnarok away. All that hard CC will not make a difference. So it's very easy for Vaycaution to sort of play in the enemy side of the rift. But we'll just be looking to reset here. Swedish will get jumped on with the Amumu, but without the Curse of the Sad Mummy, a flash will get Swedish to safety. The Death Ray is burned there, but otherwise, yeah, Swedish taking a lot of punishment. Rutledge showing a lot of proficiency here on the Vel'Koz, which I think is really what we wanted to see last game. And, you know, Swedish has good champions. Those are Ahri and Hui. They're both gone now, so we're going to be starting to see Swedish on some more pinched champions. And I imagine this is where Rutledge is going to start pulling out advantages. We have about a little close to a 30 CS lead for Rutledge, as Boat Chicken is trying to do his best up here into Vaycaution. But without any backup, it's just turret plates getting picked up by Vaycaution here. A bunch of money going into Vaycaution. Nearly 2,000 gold just in Olaf's pocket over his lane opponent. About 1.4k in Lizzo's over Beanloaf. But the mid and bot lane advantages are helping even that up, so we got him engaged.
Lizzo using the ult again. Nice knockup from Death. Coming in with the bullet time. Lucy still left alive. Nice shockwave pulls him back in, but so far it's only a 1-for-1. Such low health bars on KMZ and Lucy as Raikou trying to find the flank on. But KMZ and Lucy going to be able to get away with full summoners used. Was a nice play. Unfortunately ends up even after all things are said and done. Now just going to try and use the ball, but it should also lead to a drag for Imperials. And getting that second drag is going to be a big deal here.
Yeah, second Drake going over to the Imperials. They're setting themselves up much better for a Drake win con this game. They traded 3 for 3 on the Grubbins. Boat Chicken. Boat Space Chicken.
Space Chicken. I like that though. You gotta really add the emphasis to it.
Oh, Death is flexing on Rutledge right there.
Oh,
Boat Chicken's got one.
Yep, no, 1-for-1 overall, not the craziest thing in the world. They have to be careful about Boat Chicken though. Does still have, you know, some pretty good damage. But now a nice knock up there. Raikou also doing a lot. Boat Chicken is going to be forced to run away. Sivir finally there. They were buying some time, and Lucy picks up one. Now Real Beatloaf going to be able to try and go in. Doesn't manage to land those chains though, and it is going to be Lucy with a shutdown. Again, you know, like we were talking about, this Sivir really the big win condition here. Has to be careful. Death going in. Nice knock up here. Vaycaution is joined in. Beanloaf looking for something, but Death not going down, and the passive heal gonna keep him alive.
Nobody saw that. Life Form Disintegration Ray used on his own teammate. It's what we call a moral support beam. Yeah, I would say good dodge from Beanloaf there to avoid the undertow, to, you know, just try and stay alive a little bit longer. Doesn't end up panning out to keep the Dream alive. But that was honestly not a bad fight from the side of the Spuds. They were able to turn it there, and especially the big thing is they got a shutdown onto Lucy. Lucy got that shut down onto Lizzo, so that is a lot of gold again into the Siver's pocket. And we have Bloodthirster first on to the Misfortune. I feel like we saw that in the past, and we also felt that it may not have been... Maybe it was Corky that was Bloodthirster first, and we were a little confused about. But we do have the Bloodthirster rush on the Misfortune. I think that is a little more standard for that champion. Couple of stride breakers for the Imperials, looking to break their stride. It's good on the Olaf champion, good on the Nocturne champion. These first item power spikes are coming in across the board for both sides here, which is going to make a big difference, especially as we're looking at our next Drake. Nobody's really close to that second item. I think Vacaution is probably the closest to getting that second item pickup. Maybe if Lucy gets a few minion waves, we could see that happen. It's certainly not impossible. I think we're going to see some carries on their second item at this Drake, as long as they're able to keep the farm up. Rutledge is looking like he's getting close to that Seraph's, so that'll be a huge pickup. Death waiting over the wall, does have the Hex Flash, but not going to do anything else with it. We've got a full lockdown.
Yeah, big damage coming through, and Lucy picks up another one. 4-0 on the Siver, and, you know, don't be wrong, Rutledge still doing great in this mid lane, but it is Lucy with all the gold in their pocket that is going to be the reliable carry this game. Imperials, though, still playing the map quite well. Still about up 1,000 gold. Nice death flank. Coming in now, the bullet time comes through. Death, a nice knock-up, but unfortunately the damage is just too great, and Raikou picks up the kill onto Rutledge in the mid lane, giving full prio over it, and because they had just picked up that Herald, they're going to drop it mid and go for even more, while Vacaution splits in that top side, and they're just not going to stop. They are unrelenting in this pressure.
Yeah, not stopping right here for sure. Vacaution continuing to pressure uncontested as Beanloaf is in the wrong place at the wrong time, caught out in the enemy jungle. Was looking, I think, for a potential flank, but just did not have the teammates for it. Got found out on a ward, and then it was lights out for the poor Olamumu, who has been struggling this game. Beanloaf has been having a rough go of it. It is a Mumu, so like you still have your big stupid button you can click, but obviously, especially compared to what Lizzo is getting done here on the Nocturne, it feels a little rough for the Amumu in this game. But yeah, with that Herald, they dropped it in the mid lane. I feel like they could have potentially tried to get more out of that if they had all committed to just pushing with the people who are around, just committed to pushing with that Herald. I think they could have gotten that mid turret before anybody stopped them, as Swedish taking a huge amount of punishment here. Oh wait, Bowchicken's fast. He might just walk up and down smash this guy.
And we'll see. Lands he's slow. Nice knock-up, but dodge from Lizzo. Manages to use that spell shield. Still dying though. Bowchicken has to be careful. Nice knock-up on a Swedish pancake. Now the life form disintegration ray comes through, but it's Lizzo who picks up the kill. They're not going to be able to land death here. Raikou doing a lot of damage. The ult comes down. They're going in on the death. They want a little bit more kills. The knockback goes in, but Swedish pancakes is still up. Rutledge finally takes down death.
Meanwhile,
and now Lucy rejoining. Yeah, meanwhile, up in the top side, Vacaution has been destroying these objectives.
Yeah, and that's going to be... They're going to start the Drake up, but I feel like this is not a good idea because Raikou has the ability to delay here. Raikou still has bullet time. Lizzo has Paranoia. You can get the Drake here, but what are you giving up for it as a result? Paranoia's going.
Oh my lord! Bullet time hits the Amumu and the dragon. Swedish Pancakes picks up Rutledge. Now Lucy and Kenzie on the run. It is a disaster.
It's a disaster. Oh my lord.
Oh, not like this.
That was perfectly executed.
Flash forward! Vacaution picks up another one.
What?
Now, is going to have to leave because the team will come back, but complete destruction there, getting the inhibitor. Now the mid lane's getting shoved in. Baron isn't even up for another 5 minutes, and the base is already getting torn open.
Yeah, that was a total just domination coming out from the Imperials right here. Gonna have a solar flare come down. Beanloaf's gonna land onto Lizzo. We'll see what they can flip back.
Yeah, Lizzo, just a matter of time. He's a little bit more. Finally, the shutdown comes through as Beanloaf takes out one. KMZ on the back end of the fight, but maybe going a little bit too deep. No, going to be able to make it out. The Lifeform Disintegration
Ooh.
Ray, and Lucy picks up another one with that Q. Has to be careful, though, as Raikou just ready to fire back. Huge Pancakes and Raikou have enough damage to take it out. Beanloaf, though, without the Curse of the Sad Mummy, has to land on the Beanloaf. Huge Pancakes still on the back end of the fight. Rutledge was left alone. Now Beanloaf finally goes in with the Q, but the bandage toss is not enough as Swedish picks up a double kill, and the Imperials turn that fight right back around.
Yeah, it feels like it goes from bad to worse for the Spuds this game. What they were holding their own for a little while there. You know, Lucy was in a good spot. Rutledge was in a relatively good spot. It was mostly just through the top side that they were kind of struggling. And unfortunately, that top side gave out and the whole map collapses as a result. The Spuds decide to go for the Drake, which that alone I think was a poor idea. You know that you have to send somebody to stop Caution. Obviously, the Spuds could look to stop your recalls, but I feel like the Spuds, if they get, or I guess the Imperials, they could stop recalls, but they also could just take the Drake, which they end up doing anyways because Raikou gets that steal. The Spuds have kind of a split focus there. They decide, okay, maybe we go for this engage. Okay, maybe we just get caught here. And of course, gotta commend Swedish and Lizzo for executing the absolutely perfect execution on the Shockwave Paranoia combo that so many teams have been making use of across in this league and others, ripping the entirety of the Spuds to shreds. And yeah, from here it is just kind of you know, playing with their food a little bit once again as Death and Caution are gonna chop up this big ol' Cho'Gath champion.
Yeah, carving up the chicken for the family. Rotisserie dinner right there as Raikou picks up another. And it just feels like over and over again, Spuds have just been out macroed at every corner, just out-brained, really. Lucy, the only hope, 5-1 on the server is very strong. Unfortunately, the team around them is just not quite at that same level, has not really been able to. Death, we do a little trolling on our support, right? Death, the sacrificial, not even sacrificial lamb. You sacrifice Death, and you're like, it's for good luck. It's for good luck. That's what we're gonna go with. I think
he's resetting the gold values on the enemies.
Obviously. Engage here though. Okay. Nice pull back. Good shockwave. Real Beanlove has to be careful. They caution. Gonna have to run away, but they are just gonna pick it out. Yeah, a little bit of an overextension there in the mid lane. Not really accounting for the fact that their team was not in position to keep those towers going. So. I don't know. That's the thing. That's the thing with these Ruby teams is they'll get this massive lead, but they won't be careful enough. They'll like just run in for no reason. They're like, okay, we probably should have been there, but in the end, it's okay. We're still up, but have to be careful that we're not throwing away things too much. Because as far as down as we are, one really good Sivir team fight at a major objective could completely flip the game on its head. So. I think the Imperials are going to have to play the rest these next couple minutes smart. 30 seconds on the Soul. They need to be ready for this. They need to force Spuds to come into them, and they need to play this next fight well.
We'll have to see if the Spuds can do that, though. Gold currently at about a 6k gold lead for the side of the Imperials, as KMZ will be the target here, but Caution is on his lonesome. I don't think it really.
5,000 of that difference is on Caution.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It is. This is a top lane canyon. The differential here is massive, and I guess this is why Caution felt comfortable picking the Olaf in the top lane here. Kind of just knows Boat Chicken's champ pool is insufficient to handle a champion like the Olaf, who you kind of have to disarm in a very specific way, especially against somebody who is proficient on the champion, because Olaf can do this. He can take over a game and just become a side lane threat that you cannot match, similar to a champion like Camille if she gets going. So I wonder if there was maybe a better option in draft other than Cho'Gath. Death is around, will be found out by Beanloaf. It is 2 on the top side here for the side of the Imperials. A window has opened up for the Spuds to potentially get something, but they will opt out of it. Next big thing here is the Baron. So that is a Mountain Soul Imperials roster looking at a Baron right now. And once again, it feels like this game may be a bit of a foregone conclusion. But it is also still not out of the question. Rutledge is doing fine. Has a good amount of damage. They still have a lot of good tools with the Amumu, with the Sivir, who's in a good spot. Again, looking at the Death Ray. Although Rutledge, I'm now realizing, is painfully behind in terms of XP. Same level as the Sivir. This kind of grouping up here at a disadvantage is forcing the Spuds to give up a lot of that solo XP. And now they're staring down at Raikou, who is level 16, a level up on Swedish.
And most importantly, that's the level 3 bullet time.
Yeah, that is
terrifying.
Huge. It is very terrifying. And on the top side, now they're trying to cut down. They got to deal with a Vaycaution, who nobody can match, and a 4-man roster that nobody can match. For the side of the Spuds. They're going to send Boat Chicken up to look menacingly at Vaycaution, but Vaycaution is not phased. We're going to see the triggers pulled.
Yeah, finally going in with Paranoia. Big engage now. We have it on the backside. Big bullet time comes out, starts shredding, but Lucy's still alive. Rutledge with the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. Swedish Pancakes takes 1. So far, just a 1-for-1. Lucy able to run back, regen up a little bit in base, and Swedish Pancakes is very low. This might be the fight that they are finding. Not a lot of ultimates. Death screws up the combo, and the Shockwave won't find its mark. Rutledge picks up 1. Lucy has to be very careful. So low here. Raikou takes out 1, but unfortunately, the rest of the team is getting run down. Lizzo's the last one alive and gets knocked up by Boat Chicken. It's just a matter of time before Beanloaf finds that last bandage toss as Rutledge picks up another kill, and that's exactly what I was talking about. If they don't play these fights well, one good fight can turn everything around.
While that is not everything necessarily, it does give the Spuds a lot of breathing room here. They needed that fight to just kind of give them footing in the game. You see that Lucy is, again, in a really good spot on the Sivir. Actually matching Raikou in terms of items. Rutledge as well, matching lane opponent here. So much is loaded into the Spuds in these carries, which honestly is a perfectly fine place to be when you have big stupid buttons like the Amumu ulti and Leona's entire kit. So this is the kind of situation where the Spuds really are able to try and shine, and that is in kind of punishing an overstep from the Imperials. But there's not much left for the Imperials to overstep for. You've got 2 minutes on the Elder Drake. Oh. Huh? Okay, let's take a look at that. I think Lucy just walked into Olaf and died. Yeah.
Walked into the jungle alone. Gets taken out by Vaycaution.
Any 80 carry players in the audience? Close the feed. You don't want to see this one.
Cut the feed. Cut the feed.
Cut the feed. Ah, jeez. Yeah, that's what it feels like to play attack damage carry sometimes. Is Olaf kills you, which is awful. Actually, that is
It's really bad for them. Having Lucy down for the next 20 seconds, when that's kind of their big carry, that is their big ultimate that they have in the team fights. Luckily, the team can do a decent job trying to hold this off. Rutledge with a decent amount of wave clear. And I have to be careful. Team scooped up, though. Lucy's back, so it's fine, but Vaycaution might be caught out. Forced to flash away.
I'll say I like the positioning from Death here. Just stopping Rutledge from being able to just click the R button by positioning aggressively. And speaking of the R button,
This might be it. Going in. Death trying to find the engage. Nice light form disintegration made, but a huge shockwave into bullet time as Swedish Pancakes finds 4 members. They Caution picks up another. Boat Chicken and KMZ on the run. Death blocking off their escape to the fountain. And the 1v1, the support. Boat Chicken gonna take a big bite out of the cow. And it's steak for dinner. But that is just a consolation prize, as their Nexus is going to be beat to shreds very shortly. Lizzo running him down. They in the base. And, Imperials go up 2-0 in the series. I don't think this was the start that anyone was expecting.
Yeah, this is an absolute blasting. This is a slaughter. Like,
This is insane. I don't think anyone saw this coming.
I was joking about, I won a 3-0, but like, I thought these two teams were so much closer than they are. Like, is it just, I wonder if it's maybe just like a mismatch or what else it is. Maybe the Imperials, they ate their frosted mini wheats this morning and they're feeling good or something, but they're just on their A game today. Obviously, you have some mispositions, some over-aggression, but that's normal for the league. They aren't giving up so much that it allows the Spuds to get back into the game. And the Spuds are, unfortunately, the deficits that they're finding themselves in are really just hard to deal with, especially because Vey Caution is so good on the side lane. I think it's one of the big things that the Imperials have over the Spuds is the fact that Vey Caution is so good playing on the side. Working well on the Gwen we saw in the last game, and in this game on the Olaf dominating the Cho'Gath. It was not close. It was not particularly close. There were some glimmers of hope, but glimmers are only so much in a game that is this one-sided. So, man, I'm curious as to what the Spuds do to bring it back. Obviously, the Imperials have knocked out a lot of champions they are proficient at. Vey Caution no longer has the Olaf as an option. The Misfortune's taken out. It's just a good AD carry pick. But and at the same time, the Spuds are missing things like the Leona or the Sivir that they are working well with. And Beanloaf on these tank junglers, I mean, what have you got left? You used Maokai, you used Amumu, you've got Sejuani, you've got to ban Zac, so he's not on the table. It feels very tough for the Spuds here. But as these champions are knocked out from Fearless, we'll see if that makes a difference in the next draft. So with that said, we're going to throw it to the next draft in just a few minutes. We'll see you then.
Game 3 draft. It's time.
Game 3.
Imperials
Yeah.
up 2-0. This is the moment, baby.
Fate of the world on the line here.
Fate of the world on the line.
Yeah, things are looking really rough for the Spuds tonight. They had their 4 weeks off due to, a playoff bye and FFs and the gauntlet. So the Spuds have not played League of Legends in a while, and now they're having to play some really tough League of Legends here as the Imperials, they're warmed up and ready. Their hands are on fire here as the Spuds give up. Oh wait, no, the Spuds keep the Lilia off the ban list, targeting Raiku's Caitlyn, and decide to pick the Lilia up. That's a smart draft adaptation. Okay.
I like that though.
I'm interested.
I like that. That's really smart because going into the game 3, you're like, okay, if we're giving over that classic like Raikou just when they're feeling already on that 2-game win streak, probably not a great idea. The Jhin, very good answer, but keeping it off and then picking up the Lilia for themselves when we know that that's into the Spuds game plan, really smart. I agree. I think that's a great adaptation for them to make.
Yeah, especially because it, in a way, being able to ban away that AD carry does deny that from Raikou. And, I believe Raikou was formerly not a Kate OTP in previous leagues, so, not a Kate OTP this game either. Oh, Lizzo, no, dude.
Oh, look, this is what happens when Lizzo goes up 2-0. We knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, Lizzo won with the Nocturne last game. We saw this last week, I think, with Hyper Dragon, who played the Nocturne and the Kayn. And I doubted them both games, and it won both games. So I'm not gonna say that. I mean, Nocturne looked great in the previous game. I saw some good use of the Paranoia. You had the Orianna combo there. Kayn, I feel like so much can go wrong with this champion. But at the same time, so much can go right, and it's a good champion to bully Lilia. If you think that you are going to have hands to bully the enemy jungler, like the Lilia here, I think that Kayn is a good way to attempt to do that. If you just think you're better than the other guy, might as well go for it. As we have KMZ picking up the Nautilus, a KMZ Engage support special. We'll be picking that up with the Ezreal, bit of a not the most conventional pairing for the Nautilus, but we do, especially considering Kai'Sa is still on the board, we are going to be picking up the Ezreal. I think it's looking at comfort.
I think it's more normalized nowadays.
Is it more normal? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as a lot of people know that you can just play Ezreal more aggressively.
I mean, you play
now.
Ezreal anywhere with anyone.
Yeah, Ezreal's
the guy.
not this. Yeah. I think we're past the point where Ezreal is just considered generic scaling champion is actually quite strong in a lot of early game scenarios now. So not too surprised to see that picked up. I will say I'm not surprised at the bans. I am expecting that with everything picked up that we're probably going to see Imperials just go for that top lane counter pick now. Usually they have like all these things, but with a lot of things picked like taken out of the pool, and things a bit pinched, I would not be surprised to see like maybe a takeaway from Rutledge, but Rutledge has such a wide pool, I wouldn't be surprised just to see another consistent mid laner that we've seen a lot of. But I think either of the solo lane counter picks are very strong here.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that go to Vey Caution as getting the counter pick, which it looks like that's what they're going to do. The Anivia is a Swedish Pancakes champion, so you're picking that one up, getting some more powerful comfort here for the side of the Imperials, as we do have the top lane counter pick, which is really bad news for the Spuds, because Boat Chicken has been looking rough this series. We do still have the Ornn. Boat Chicken has done well on the Ornn champion, so that is an option. I think that with what they have, it's probably a good pick, just because we could use some more frontline, could use some more lockdown, and because Gwen is off the table, Olaf is off the table. Those are two champions that would do well into the Ornn. I think this is a good time to pick the Ornn if I am Boat Chicken. just something relatively safe, relatively reliable. You may open up a Gnar counter pick, but okay, we're going for Shen instead. All right, okay. I think that's probably fine, but I wanted to believe in I feel like I would have liked the Orin a little bit more personally, but Shen is all right. And the Gnar I think was in the cards, regardless of what top laner it was. Just it plays in the same way that Vey Caution likes to play, and overall it's just a fairly solid champion. Plays well into the tanks that Boat Chicken tends to be playing here. I will say it is unfortunate that we banned the Camille and the Mbessa too. So I wonder why we didn't opt for Ornn. I'm gonna trust Boat Chicken here.
Yeah,
I'm going to assume
I like the Anivia. I think it's an interesting pick. Especially
the Anivia is great.
Yeah, like into Lily and everything. I mean, it's definitely it facilitates a lot of your carries really well. Makes it very hard. I will say we're still losing out a bit on range just because the Ezreal and the Lux just have such long ranges, but still it feels. I think both comps are a lot more interesting this game. I think this is much more evenly matched and like much more player based than the previous games.
Yeah. With that said, I think that if this is an evenly matched game, unfortunately, unless the Spuds, they went into the locker room and had a very good motivational talk, the Imperials are coming into this with crazy momentum. But they also do have some champions, specifically the Kayn, that have a habit of landing tails. I don't know if we're going to see that this game, but I do think it is certainly a possibility to consider, just because Kayn is unreliable at times. So I will say I do think the Imperials will get the 3-0 here. I like the tools that they have. The Anivia's super heads up. The Rel feels really good into the Nautilus. The only question mark I have is about Kayn, and I think that Lizzo has proven that he's on it today. So I'm gonna trust Lizzo's judgment, and I'm gonna give it to the Imperials.
Yeah, I think they're on tear. I think relying on the 3-0 here seems pretty understandable. I think there's a lot of ways that it could go right. So I'm with you on that one. I'm gonna say 3-0 Imperials, as insane as that sounds to go for.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it is that insane or if the Spuds have got something in the membrane to help them out in this last game and bring us to a game 4, or we could get an early night. So we'll have to see what's in store for us. We get into the game in just a few minutes. Stick around. We'll see you then.
それぞれの思い秘めた星の守り手は空からの呼ぶ声に導かれた重ねる手と手には言葉なんかより伝わることがある熱い心通じ合った確かなレゾナンス見つけるのはエッセンス目指した意識の先がディスティネーション答えが見えなくてくじけそうになって支え合い誓い合う絆でつなぐシャイニースマイル心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道を開く鍵はマイスターライトハ明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing Heart 心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道が開いたら羽ばたいてゆこうよ乗り越えてゆこうよ星空と溶け合っていつまでも行ける Fly High まっすぐ願いを世界に歌って新しい夜を新しい朝をここからまた始めよう My heart shines endlessly 飛び立て
All right, everybody, welcome back on the riff for Game 3. We're here. It's in. It's crazy. We have a potential 3-0 angle for the Imperials, who are now up 2-0 in the series, and the Spuds looking for a reverse sweep. It has to start with this game.
Yeah, the Spuds are in dire straits right now. They are looking for a big win right here, and they're gonna play a little aggressively right now. Lizzo's rooted.
Yep, Lizzo has to be careful. Has to flash out forced already, but it is first blood going over to Raikou. And it's already not looking great for the Spuds. Raikou getting that kill is absolutely massive. We know what this guy can do with an early lead. Now Lucy flipped back over, potentially gonna have to flash, we'll see. Raikou might be able to land some damage. Death is going to have a crash down up in a couple seconds, and that's where it's leading. Raikou, though, flashes forward, ready with the fourth shot. Lucy waited just a little bit too long and then burned both summoners. Raikou 2-0 on the Jhin, not even 2 minutes into the game.
This is go next season angle, unfortunately.
Go next season, yeah, no.
Yeah, this is...
Can't even go next game now.
This is real bad. This is disastrous. This, I think, may be one of the worst things you could see at the start of the game here if you are the Spuds, is Raikou has already been dominating the series. I am now realizing that this is Boat Chicken support and KMZ top lane. We had a role swap mid-series. Lizzo mukbang, screaming and crying. You could hear him. Check the stream. He's already upset about it. The lane swap going on here. As
I believe it.
It's
funny because Boat Chicken was really not like, okay, yeah, the Cho'Gath game was a little troll, but all things considered, not terribly. And honestly, I don't know if KMZ going top is your answer. Who knows? Maybe this is the play. But given that the game's already started off with Raikou at 2 kills, and now Boat Chicken dredge lining a minion, I don't know if that was the call, guys.
Yeah, it really feels like when you lane swap like this is not a confident lane swap. This is not a lane swap where we're making a good decision. This is a lane swap made out of desperation. This is a lane swap made because, well, what the hell else are we gonna do? We're losing this so badly that we gotta try something. Throw something at the wall, see what sticks. Well, this doesn't. As Lizzo's gonna be going for the invade. What we saw kinda attempted in game 1 now being coming to fruition here as Beanloaf will get the red buff denied, and that's going to be a 3 buff going to Lizzo here as Rutledge. Okay, never mind, gotta fight.
Yeah, looking for it now. Raikou's in danger, and that could be the shutdown going over. We'll see who picks it up. It's Beanloaf who grabs it as Death comes over and is not able to get back over that wall. Double kill now for Rutledge. Or sorry, kill for Beanloaf and Rutledge. 2 for the Spuds, and yeah, that's a way to get back in. Picking up the shutdown onto Raikou, making sure your mid and your jungler both pick up 1. Going to be a big deal going into it, especially because Lizzo still has not gotten out. Boat Chicken chasing down. Now uses the exhaust as Beanloaf's looking for another and picks up the feat of Warfare as Beanloaf goes up 2 kills and is now going to have full access to Lizzo's jungle.
Yeah, Beanloaf gets a good opportunity here to play into Lizzo's jungle and try and just get as much done as possible with the Roomba Lilia. We'll see if it really amounts to anything or if it's just going to be if it's just going to be kind of a little bit of a small advantage. But for the time being, kills currently in favor of the Spuds here, as that was a good fight around the bot side. I think it was a very good punish there on the invade. Lizzo obviously has the ability to go for that invade, but the wave in mid was not very advantageous. It made it very easy for Rutledge to just kind of walk over and pinch the members of the Imperials that were still there. And I think the big thing is that they did not really have flashes to get out in terms if they ran into a dangerous situation. So Raikou was sort of just left to the wolves. Lizzo, it's the birds. So the invade goes sideways, and it allows Beanloaf to get a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of vengeance for what happened in the last game. As we have an egg popped right here. Losing your egg right here is very expensive. Have you seen the prices in the store? After all,
That's what? That's probably like 350. That's like 350 worth of egg right there.
Yeah, that's a disaster. The value is it's so over. It's never been more over. Top lane KMZ
Imperials will never financially recover.
Maybe
they will. Hey, you're still down, about 50 cents, but 300 picked up. A quick $3 from Vay Caution up in the top side.
Plus 300, feel good for that on Gnar, especially because KMZ is like over 20 CS down here at 6 minutes. This guy is a support, everyone. As it turns out, you don't need to be good at the game to play support. So, just something to chew on here as we
nice
have
dredge line there.
Scuffle. Yeah, a good dredge line.
I like that. Like, ready for the Q. Immediately once that cannon goes down, just immediately looks for the hook. And a really nice trade there on Raikou. Swedish Pancake's forced out again, but has the TP, so shouldn't have to worry too much. But yeah, you can see Lucy going for the full scaling once again, the tier and the call.
Yeah. I feel like if you are Spuds, you're honestly fine with that. Trying to just go for this big scaling as Rutledge might be in a precarious... Oh yeah, Rutledge is very much in a precarious spot.
Absolutely in a bad spot here. It does have the flash. Death gonna be able to land the stun though. Raikou wide on the W, unfortunately. A nice dredge line from Boat Chicken. And now the TP comes in from KMZ with a big ultimate. Nice root there, and Lizzo goes down. Rutledge finally gets taken out, but KMZ and Boat Chicken both on the back line. Raikou just a matter of time before he goes down. Maybe still alive though through some miracle as the storm picks up. Boat Chicken picks up the kill, but is Death going to win the 1v1? We'll have to see. Beanloaf here to assist, but is low on mana. Might not be able to. A nice crash down from Death, but a big shield there. Not going to be able to land the Q. Swedish Pancake's finally picking it up with an E, but Beanloaf with no more mana isn't going to be able to chase any further. Lucy, though, flashes forward, misses the Q, unfortunately. A flash forward from Lizzo to make sure to defend his mid laner from any future Qs. The Swedish Pancakes pick us on another, and the Imperials come out on top of that fight. 3-0 now with Swedish Pancakes immediately shut down by the ult. I can't say anything without caster cursing someone this game. It is insane.
Yeah. 3-0. Go 3-1 now. As Swedish was looking a little worse for wear in lane, but now coming back into the lane, picking up several kills for himself, turning that fight around back onto the Spuds. I will say it looked fairly good. The Stand United, I think, was a good choice there. Allowed to try and flip that fight onto Rutledge. Unfortunately, Rutledge getting locked by the crash down ended up being really catastrophic because it just made it easy for Raikou to flip that, get the first kill there, and taking out Rutledge was sort of just the best thing they could do to negate what the Spuds have in terms of damage. Speaking, oh man, this is like me playing top lane. Oh no, oh god, oh no.
Feel bad. Feel dirty.
This feels like I shouldn't be watching this.
It's 28 to 76, Becky.
Oh no, no. So
this is mean.
we may have made a poor decision here in our lane swap decision. But you know,
I mean,
there's still
Bochicken's doing all right.
Yeah, Bochicken's doing great. What?
Bochicken's having a great time. He's like, honestly, oh yeah, he's off so easy. You try it.
All right, here's the thing. I think
if you're... Oh, okay, wait, no, Lizzo's on a ward, never mind. Yeah. I was about to say, I'm like, if he walks up now, Lizzo's on a ward, they see it, they know what's happening.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I think that if your plan was to get Boat Chicken out of top lane because he can't cut the mustard, you send Rutledge up there. Like,
yeah, I mean, this guy
KMZ can play mid lane, Boat Chicken can play mid lane. Obviously, it feels bad to move Rutledge up into the top lane when he's been doing so well on his main role in the mid lane, but Rutledge would not be at this huge of a deficit in the top lane. And we already were facing huge deficits in top lane as we have a fight right here.
Yep, Drowsy comes out, big damage coming through. Death manages to dodge it though, tries to use Magnet Storm to pull people back in. Raigu's still alive. Nice cue from Lucy, brings it back, but now Lizzo's in the middle of 3 doing so much damage. The ult comes through though, and Lizzo can't ult before KMZ comes in. Another amazing shot from Lucy to pick up a double kill on the bot side.
Yeah, double kill going over to Lucy there. Very good for the Spuds. Getting that in on the Ezreal, who is power scaling this game with the tier, with the Cole. That is what you want to see, especially because you've basically just given up one side of the map. You really need to make the most out of the other side of the game. And Rutledge is in a fine spot, doing very well for himself. Now you just need to get Lucy in a good spot. And from here on out, it is just, you have Shen as second support, basically. Yeah, you funnel all of your gold as much as you can. Get Shen his first item, you know, don't leave him to the wolves, but once he gets his first item, honestly, I think if you're KMZ, you just build fucking support. Just build support items, buddy. Just pick up, you go Locket. You go, I guess you already have Locket. Maybe you go to like Redemption or something. You pick up the support items that Boat Chicken is not going to pick up. And
I mean, we can just go double lock it. I don't think that's a bad idea.
That's
goes down again.
We do have the lockdown.
Yeah, I feel like what you do is you pivot. You just go like, it looks like we might already be building Redemption. I feel like you just go Bomby Cinder, Redemption, lock it, and you're just like, here, this is my wave clear so I can at least CS a little bit, and then everything else is just support items.
Yeah, I think that's what you opt into with the deficit you're at. Your goal is to just allow your carries to carry through playing a double support strat. And that might feel bad, but this is the world you've given yourself, as Lucy looking great for themselves this game. Getting another solo on to Raikou here is KMZ is getting beat up by Vaycaution and topside, but Bean Loaf is there, so we'll not be too sad about that. We'll at least have some backup here, as Lucy doing a good job aggressing onto the spot side, gonna get a couple of plates here. Death is around, but can't really contest that. Raikou will be back pretty soon. We do have Flash and Ignite for Death. We've got Flash for Raikou, so we could see an engage in on the bot side. But considering Boat Chicken has depth charge, I think it's probably not going to happen unless Lizzo ends up down there. The other thing I'm kind of waiting for is Lizzo's form. We do have Conqueror this game, which indicates that we are going to see the Frost. I think that's a smart choice this game. You could have gone Shadow Assassin, but I don't think there are enough range champions to make it easy to go Shadow Assassin. Actually, we have Shadow Assassin ready, it looks like. So
yep.
We could have just gone Shadow Assassin. But we just want Frost, apparently. I don't think we necessarily need it at this game. Obviously, because you have to pick your keystone, you don't really like having Conqueror with Shadow Assassin. They don't really work well together. But I feel like this is a perfectly fine game to go Shadow Assassin if the game gives it to you.
Bad in this case. I feel like, maybe we're not going for the one shot, but we can definitely play like a bit of a slower Shadow Assassin in a lot of these fights, especially given that KMZ has that ult. Like, we can go for some initial damage, get an auto, and then try and E out instead of Eing in, just walk with team, but I don't know, I guess not. Vaycaution should be able to run out when he transforms back, but Lizzo's up here. Ult probably spots him out though as it goes through that bush.
In the mid lane, we've got Boat Chicken on his lonesome trying to hide out here. Depth charge is used. Rutledge will get the lockdown, but can they get the burst?
Nice
No,
flash
they
from
will
Swedish
not.
Pancakes. Wants to keep that egg alive. Feels like it's more important than the flash. A bit interesting. Now Root, the Drowsy comes in. Kane gonna go into the ult before he gets slept. Doing a lot of damage here, but does go into the egg. Beanloaf has just been running through this fight so strong right now. Swedish Pancakes very low. So is Lizzo. Rutledge not going to be taken out by that E. A beautiful ult from KMZ. But now Raikou comes in and the curtains have been called. KMZ goes back in with the taunt as Raikou misses that fourth shot. But even if it landed, I don't know if it does anything. Beautiful bowling ball lands onto Swedish and the burn takes him out. Ult comes through but doesn't take out Raikou. But still a great fight for the Spuds.
Yeah, another good fight for the Spuds, who, for the first time in a while, we saw at the start of game, in part of game 2, the Spuds are looking like they're feeling themselves. Ooh, a good pickup for Lucy, as that is looking all right for themselves. Gold is dead even, despite the astronomical deficit in topside. That 3,000 in topside. Oh, geez, oh man. We don't need to talk about that, though, because the rest of the map is fully in Spud's favor this game. Mid lane especially, and mid and bot especially, but also Beanloaf doing really well for themselves this game. Has kind of been struggling in the rest of these games to match Lizzo in terms of tempo, in terms of taking good fights, but this game has set themselves very well for success, but we do have an engage here.
Yep, they're coming out. Has to be careful. Lucy on the back end, but it's Vaycaution picking up the first kill. Nice step charge knock-up too, but unfortunately Boat Chicken cut off by the wall. Gonna try and Spider-Man out, but it's just a matter of time before it goes down. Nice W from Raikou. Gonna be able to land enough damage. Swedish Pancakes picks up another one, and now have full priority on that dragon. Looks like they're just gonna back up, take some camps where they can, and get this objective.
Yeah, looking to back up, get the objective here. That will be the first Drake over to the Imperials. Both teams did end up getting 3 of the Grubbins, so 1 round of Grubbins each. Does neither team have the... Oh, did Spuds get the Feat of Warfare?
I think so.
Yeah, and the first turret crack obviously went to Vaycaution. So, yeah, we are actually fighting for this next objective here. On both sides. Looks like it's going to be the Herald. Not that the feats
I think we have to give it.
Yeah, not that the feats really do a whole lot, but they're a nice little consolation prize. They're nice to get. It feels good to get them over your opponent. Unless Vaycaution, who is very strong, is going to try and fight this one out.
We'll have to see. Big shutdown there, though. The gold goes in, and I think we walked a little bit too quickly. And yeah, Lizzo not going to be able to land that ward. It's not going to be able to flank around or look for a steal. And it looks like we're just going to be having to give up feats here. Over as Beanloaf picks up the Rift Herald. And that should be the feat of Monster Slaying. Yeah, okay, that is the feats finished off. Lizzo going in for more of a fight. Nice knock up here. Has to use that ultimate, but has slept. A nice CC chain takes him out before he can get that kill.
Yeah, perfect CC chain. Perfect CC chains overall coming in from the Spuds here. We saw into Vaycaution in topside that CC chain was excellent. Fully locking down the Gnar. He was ready to go big, but it ended up not working out. And now we have another CC chain that just perfectly locked up Lizzo. And we're seeing a little bit of the Kane problem, I would say, as Kane's looking a little worse for wear right now, but it could be worse. Boat Chicken will get found out, will get locked up, will get caught by the wall, and that's just an easy pickup for Raikou there. A little bit of extra gold into the 80 carry's pocket. We have 2 items completed on to the Ezreal. We have the Lux, who actually opted into finishing those super upgraded boots early, which is very interesting. That the Magic Pen boots, upgraded boots, are really good. They're probably the best ones you can get aside from like the Swifties, because the percent Magic Pen off of just having boots feels really good to have. Vaycaution has got a hop, skip, and a jump, and Will also got a flash, so Will survive there, but having to burn the flash does feel a little bit bad. KMZ still very much down in CS and tempo in topside. I don't know why we bothered building Heartsteel. KMZ is looking at recommended items on Mobile Fire right now, as Boat Chicken is looking at recommended, I don't know, vacation destinations here with that movement into the map. Just right-clicking into the enemies as we got the curtain called.
Yep, coming through, seeing if they can land anything, but Raikou not going to be able to.
Yeah, not able to yet.
I'm just staring at this Heartsteel, disappointed. Like a disappointed mother.
I don't get it.
Why?
I don't get it, bud. I don't get it. Like you're never gonna proc it, dude. You're a pin cushion for this little tiny Yordle man. Oh, we got one. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Vaycaution needs to be careful. Rutledge with a nice ulti will go down. Otacon taken in the process though. I don't know if he really needed to be up that far for Vaycaution. Nice ulti. But yeah, no, it's just a matter of time. Ruinous Otacon goes down, and it still feels very evenly matched, right? The gold, only about a 500 difference, but Imperials getting a lot of gold value off that. Carries are split. It really, right now, it really feels like one of the most even game states that we've had all night.
For sure. This is we're still very much dead even. Like, we're dead even off of the fact that we have pretty lopsided sides on for both teams. We have a pretty big advantage in the top side again for Caution, but also a pretty sizable advantage in the mid and bot lane for Lucy and Rutledge, although Swedish and Raikou are doing a good job of evening that deficit here. Swedish does have that shutdown on him, and Raikou has been picking up more of that gold, more of that XP around the map. Rutledge falling behind in XP again, you know, playing around the team. The dangers of being a team player is that you do fall a little bit behind relative to your allies, but it pays off in the end, surely. As we do have the True Shot Barrage coming through, we do have the Mountain Drake up, as Death will have to crash down over the wall as the Spuds are going to try and break their way into the river. But I think the fact that the Imperials have first draw here is going to feel really rough, especially because Caution has the TP and also is just able to pressure KMZ. If KMZ is forced to use the Stand United, that can be interrupted if we have Bignar, who is going to be out here, so we could see the Stand United come through. But we also might just see KMZ die horribly in the top side, as Death's going to look for a flip.
An option. Death going in now with the Magnet Storm. Big Drowsy here from being low. Gonna be able to get on Lizzo. Not gonna be able to finish him off in time. Death's still super low. Rutledge laser hits nothing. But meanwhile, on the back end, Vey has just been destroying the base. Gets the 1v1 onto KMZ. Death has to be careful. Going over the wall. Boat Chicken not quite there. The bowling ball's gonna go wide. Nice W hits. Gets a lot of good damage. Caution force the back out of Rutledge to make sure that they can't get anything else. Fourth shot being held as a sort of pseudo smite here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, they're in the... Oh, no, I was going to say in a bit of an Mexican standoff, but it is going to be Beanlow finishing it off. Meanwhile, on the backside, Lucy on the 1v1, put him into the egg. Death now managing to back up Raikou's, looking for an extra kill. Nice laser from downtown, keeps Lucy alive. Meanwhile, on the back end of the fight, Raikou is able to keep burning him down, will eventually go down to the burn. Lucy saved by KMZ with the Stand United as Caution just gonna get run down by the Heart Seal, by the Grasp, and KMZ picks up a late ace there from the Spuds.
A late ace from the Spuds, but an ace nonetheless. The real problem is that they do end up losing a lot there in the process. They end up losing that entire top side. The inhib going over to the side of the Imperials. I will say, on the bright side, it is the top side inhib, so it means that the Baron is less dangerous to go for now, because it is a little bit closer to the minions that are going to be beating down your doorstep. But on the other hand, you do have to now be a little bit concerned about the fact that Caution can either continue to apply pressure there or do what he's doing now and just flip his attention onto the bot side, where once again, nobody can really match him. Caution just doing what he's been doing all series, playing around the side lane, playing to those advantages, just bullying and abusing whoever he can in that lane, in the side, relatively uncontested. As Lizzo's, this is looking a little personal here, as Lizzo's gonna say hello to KMZ as the game continues to develop ever so slightly here.
Yeah, much slower pace than our previous games. Gold still dead even right now, despite all the kill differences. So many towers for Imperials. That's where the big difference. 3-tower difference. They already are on Dragon, but still, because they were able to pick up that Ruinous Otacon, and because Baron's the only one up, these teams just have to be so careful with their movements. They have to be so methodical in what they're doing. They have to be very knowledgeable about where their opponents are at all times. Like this, just walking up way too far, managing to flash out of the ult. Unfortunately, the death charge still hits. Death getting absolutely shredded as he tries to go in with this Magnet Storm and pull. The curtain call finally opened up as Caution tries to land that TP flank. Four shot missing once again. Boat Chicken lands a dredge line, but it puts him into a really bad spot. Beanloaf used the Drowsy to get some damage onto Lizzo. Not going to be knocked up just yet. Imperial's still on the chase, but it might be a little bit too aggressive there as Beanloaf picks up another one. They had a really good way out there, and they just kept going forward. Now Beanloaf keeping up the movement speed. Caution and Lizzo should be able to dodge out. Now over the wall, nice knock in. Lizzo goes in with the knockup, needs to be able to finish it off. The fourth shot was stacked on the minion strike, who picks up another shutdown from Caution onto Beanloaf. Lucy kiting back there, just trying to stay alive. Nice play from the Imperials, seeing them around, and a beautiful combo from Caution and Lizzo.
Yeah, Caution and Lizzo was looking all right for the Spuds at the start there, but they just ended up going a little too far. And I gotta say, Caution and Lizzo finding a great jump onto Rutledge and Beanloaf by that sidewall near the mid lane. Made it very easy for them to get the full stun combo and stop Rutledge from being able to do anything there. And unfortunately, Lucy was not able to be near anywhere in that fight, and KMZ's Stand United, it goes off, but it is such a weak ability that it means very little in the grand scheme of things, as we are starting to approach that 30-minute mark where we saw our previous two games end unceremoniously. It's a lot closer this time around, but once again, the Imperials are in the driver's seat with the Baron, with the buffs, and are ready to try and make this series, just end this series now before it is too late.
Yep, say that again. It is certainly an interesting start to this series. Certain end to this series, potentially at least. Baron minions up, Dragon up in 12. They're probably going to secure that for free, or at least go back to it after their push. But right now, they have full control. 3 items on Raikou, looking for a fourth. Hits the IE, the LDR, and the Collector, so very strong. Not even taking a second to go for the RFC or anything, just wants full damage here. You can even see Lizzo opting into more tanky items now, knowing that his carries have started to take over the game. Caution, though, might be caught out in the 1v3 topside once again, as the rest of the team is looking forward there. Finally, the depth charge coming through, taking the knockup, throwing people back, jumping over the wall, managing to dodge out on that dredge line, forcing the ultimate from Beanloaf, forcing the flash out of Boat Chicken, and is getting so many resources for this split. Meanwhile, the rest of the team has been pushing down mid, been pushing in Dragon, and manages to get the mid tier 2 and the Drake.
Yeah, that is a ton of resources into Caution. They do manage to get the guy, which is, of course, not bad. You're A-okay being able to actually get that guy in topside, but you've invested so much into it, and unfortunately, it's so easy for the Imperials to just walk into the mid lane here because your wave clear is loaded into all of this AP. The magic resist coming in from the Baron makes it so easy to deal with these kind of siege characters. Granted, you do still have good wave clear, especially once Lucy is there to help out, but it's very tough to actually stop the side of the Imperials once they get moving. So giving up so much tempo, giving up so much pressure on the map to get one guy who I don't necessarily know if he even really matters at this point in terms of, you know, you stopped him on the side, which is good. It alleviates some pressure. It allows you to actually, you know, maybe fight in this mid lane and defend it, but you did have to give up a lot to do that. So for right now, it's looking like it does pay off for the Spuds as they are able to hold on to their inhib turrets, but the Baron is still on for another few seconds, and they're going to try and get this crack off of this next push.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to actually get it done. Finally taking out the tower, forcing stasis out of Beanloaf. Now the ult comes through from KMZ, but the Jhin does so much damage, and Caution picks up that kill. Nice route from Rutledge. There's a present to go back. Caution knocking KMZ back into the rest of the team. Lucy still doing a lot of damage, but going down. Nice ult from Rutledge, but it just misses those crucial targets as the inhib's getting focused. Raikou's still full HP, but a lot of low health bars on the Imperials might force them back. We'll have to see. Raikou doing so much damage, getting so much power on Year as he finishes off Boat Chicken. Swedish Pancakes is put into the eggs from downtown. Raikou has to be so careful and flashes forward, not respecting damage from Lucy and Rutledge at all, as Rutledge lands a really nice root onto Swedish Pancakes. Lucy goes in, another ult for the cooldown is just so slow. Swedish Pancakes does manage to take out Lucy, but unfortunately, Swedish Pancakes is still alive. Rutledge does manage to land that Q and will keep the game alive.
Very narrowly keeping the game alive there. It looked really bad for the Spuds, and it still does, of course. But with the power of the Lux, they are able to at least hold their ground for a little bit longer. The Baron was gone, and it becomes now a game of the other two inhibs are down. You've got the top inhib still up, but that is very, very little comfort. It's a very cold comfort. No soul yet for either team. We'll get soul point off of this next Drake, and I feel like there's no way the Spuds can contest it, but honestly, that is fine. The main problem is now the Spuds are going to have to be concerned about this next Baron, because that, I think, is lethal. If the Imperials can get this next Baron, they send Vey Caution topside and the game ends. That is what is going to happen. So, if you are the Spuds here, you kind of have to gamble on taking this fight at the Baron. You cannot afford to give it up, but at the same time, you can't really afford to fight it, and you definitely can't afford to lose a member right before it.
Yep, Raikou knocked up by the death charge. Boat Chicken already very, very low. Now the curtains are open, and Boat Chicken going down. That's your primary form of engaging. Without it, you're going to have a lot harder time fighting into this potential Baron. Drag up in a minute. Baron in less than a minute. Vey Caution still on the split. They might just try and look for it right here. Rutledge not able to land that Q. Vey Caution doing a lot, eventually going to fall very low. The ult taking out the Sterix gauge, and that's a big defense that he doesn't have anymore. But the inhib being focused now in that top side, and KMZ forced back into the fountain to heal up. So be careful. Vey Caution looking for towers. They might just end right here. So much damage down onto that tower. Raikou with the force shot gonna finish it off there. Dodging out on the Q from Rutledge just narrowly.
And Rutledge going to not be able to get that one. Root will land, but it's going to lead into a fight.
Yep, finally looking for more. Vey Caution goes down. Raikou hit up. Lizzo on the backside, but it might not be enough. Rutledge picks up a double before going down. Nice double knock up there. Death goes in. KMZ still fighting for his life. Goes back in with the taunt. Lands the heart steel proc and does quite a bit of damage before falling. Now the death charge goes in. Raikou's taking a lot of punishment. Lucy jumps in instead of out and falls. A triple kill now for Raikou, and that might be the deciding factor. Beanloaf, the last one alive, has to get something, has to get a miracle, but the quadra for Jin, and it is just so poetic of an ending. A 4-kill for the Jin, for Raikou to pick up the ace, and for Imperials to pick up a 3-0 victory that no one saw coming.
Yeah, despite the fact this was a relatively quick series, I did still get put in the Death Realm. And I'm here with the Spuds in the Death Realm because, wow, that was a 3-0 domination right there. Just a total masterclass in terms of in-game performance, in terms of draft, in terms of playing the map, especially, I think, was where the Imperials really shined. Was playing around, playing the map. We saw a lot of great synergy from Lizzo and Swedish, playing very well together along their roams. I will say, I think I was most impressed with Vey Caution this series in terms of doing so well on the side lane, splitting the map, taking control of the lane, beating Boat Chicken so bad he had to go to support. You got to give credit to him, even though Raikou had a great score line and Lizzo did well in the jungle. I gotta say, I was really impressed with Vey Caution this series in terms of doing what top lane does best, in terms of the one thing top lane has to really influence the game.
Yeah, and we just got confirmation on the last one of our series. Every series tonight was a 3-0. Wizards beat Typhoons 3-0, Skeletons beat Raiders 3-0, Imperials beat Spuds 3-0, and Kittens beat Spartans 3-0. There was not a single, even 4-game series. Everyone wanted to go to bed early tonight. God damn.
Oh wait. Oh, Raiders are out. That is tragic. It was not close. Oh, it was not close.
No,
Oh, it
none
was
of
not
none of
close.
these series were close.
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess we didn't miss much then in any of the other series. Everybody's done. It's not even 11 o'clock yet. That's kind of surprising. I've actually got like 10 minutes before I usually lay down. So, I mean, great stuff from the Imperials once again. Spuds will exit. KMZ not making it the finals this time. Lizzo getting another elimination on to KMZ. We'll have to see if Lizzo can get the repeat victory though. Won last season, and will be trying to make that happen again against the Kittens, who are the last chance of stopping Lizzo from getting another chip and becoming insufferable for the next few months. With that said, before we close out, because we definitely did remember, we didn't forget, we never forget the ad read, the all-important ad read. So, because they pay us to sponsor. So let me talk a bit about procomps.gg. Boy, howdy, procomps.gg. If you have ever found yourself in a situation where you don't know what you're doing in draft, that's what I am. That's who I am, where I am. So that's why I would recommend procomps.gg. With procomps.gg, you can find live draft advice. You get pick and ban recommendations. You've got guides that can help you out in making good choices, as opposed to bad choices, which you're going to make for sure. If you want to work with your friends, especially in a pre-made league or even a draft league, you can use tools like the Champion Pool Generator to look at your pools of your entire team at a glance. You can create teams, draft across multiple devices. If you're a mobile gamer, you don't have to have 17 monitors to play League of Legends. You just need your tablet that may smell a little funny, but it still works. And of course, you can create tier lists, and you can have so many tools at your disposal to allow for powerful drafting experiences. If you want to join the thousands of daily active users, and of course the 280 million downloads, that could be you. Join all of these fantastic gamers, these bright minds of League of Legends, and download procomps.gg today. It's free, it's easy, and it's there just for you. Only you. That's right, I'm talking right to you. Procomps.gg is for you. You know who you are. You know who you are. With that said, anything you want to say before we close out tonight?
What a series. Holy.
R.I.P.
That was something special. Yeah, next week is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, well, let's see how insane it is for sure. We got our finals coming up next week, so you are not going to want to miss it. I have been Becky Rita, joined by When It Rains, as always. And of course, Shivam is behind the desk once again, clicking the buttons and making things go smoothly. So we'll see you all next week. Have a good evening.